Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio, and happy game week. Woo! I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything. If you do, you say, I do not fret, Jeff, because I know you guys are going to post it all 3 hours upon the conclusion of the show, both to iTunes and our own audio vault, and you would be right. Email the show if you like, jcs at 979espnradio.com. On Twitter, it's at jcameron show. The WTSM app, good for your mobile devices. If you want to listen on an Apple or a Android, doesn't matter. You're good to go. Either way, we got you covered there. On YouTube, it's ESPN Tallahassee. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you are well. Periscopers, you're a rare breed, but if you're out there, thanks so much.
There's a couple hundred of those every day.
Hey, Periscopers. That's on Twitter. And the love-hate relationship we all have with Twitter. It's sort of I like Twitter for the news, but I hate it for all the a-holes, which is everybody else. And let's see, jcs at 979espnradio.com, the email address. That's what you got. And you got football. You got some football. It happened over the weekend, and like it is every year, you sit down and you go, man, all right, I'm ready for a little Hawaii, Colorado State. I've never been more ready for Hawaii and Colorado State than I am right now. Where is the CBS Sports Network? Where do I get this game? Hun! $3.93. That's correct. It is $3.93.
She knows her TV.
Yeah. And then there you go. You're watching. And then later you're saying, well, now the good stuff starts because Wyoming's about to ball. Now that they got rid of that deadbeat for a quarterback, this new kid here is a lot better than Josh Allen. We're rolling now. Go Cowboys. Which turns out to be true. That kid looks a lot better. And there's that. Nobody's had a tougher preseason than that guy. He's awful. It's just the preseason, but he looks terrible. Not going to work out for him. You know who looks great? The guy that's suspended for 3 games to start the season in Tampa Bay. He looks like he might be able to play a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you what, all quarterbacks are playing well down in Tampa, but none better than Jameis. It's a pleasure to watch that offense, but I'm worried because they've been good in the preseason before, albeit Jameis has never looked this sharp before.
He looks like he's
in the preseason.
Yeah, it's crazy. But that's not the quarterback we want to talk about, nor are the other guys we've alluded to start the show. Let's start with Florida State's own quarterback. That announcement made this morning, Willie Taggart.
Just want to announce we decided our quarterback, Francois, would be our quarterback, starting against Virginia Tech, and had a very, very healthy competition going and was really good. And I thought all of our guys got better. And as a staff, we decided that DeAndre was the best for us, and we're going to go that way.
Coach, why DeAndre?
I think when you watch the body of work, in the short amount of time he's been out there, and when he's in there and running the offense, it's a lot more efficient and a lot less mistakes, and I think that's important when playing the position.
When did you let him know that he won the job?
We let all the guys know yesterday.
And I guess, did he have a certain reaction? Was it a personal interaction, or was it just kind of a team thing that you told everybody?
No, we sat down with all 3 guys and kind of let them know where we stood with them all, and again, he was excited. I mean, it wasn't anything, but he was excited, and that was it.
When did earlier in the spring, you were a little bit concerned about whether or not he was going to be able to, just how he's handling all his responsibilities on and off the field. Mm-hmm. When did you feel like, okay, I can trust this guy?
Well, I just watched his body of work, since then. He's been doing everything we asked him to do and more, and just watching him with his teammates. And I think more than myself just trusting him, I think the entire football team trusts him, and I think that's important.
Was there a growth sort of thing you saw from him in the scrimmage Saturday, or was it just, like you said, body, the work that just kind of confirmed?
I think it's a body of work. It's consistency, you know. I mean, in every scrimmage we've had, he's been really impressive in them, and same thing in practice. And they all have. I mean, it's been a good, like I say, a good competition. It's one guy do something well, the next guy would do the same thing, so that made it challenging. But I think when you look at the overall body of work and when they're in there running the offense, we feel like DeAndre gave us the best shot.
Some thoughts on that momentarily. The 7th annual Jeff Cameron Show Libations Friday Fest is this Sunday. It's this Sunday, September the 2nd from 4 to 7:30, Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. The list is a good list. It's free for everyone. When I'm talking about giveaways while supplies last, you'll enjoy your first beer on Fan Retreat. You have to sign up to fanretreat.com to do that. It's free, though. It's a free thing. It takes milliseconds. You know, I get annoyed by the internet, and if I could do it as quickly as I did, then you understand it's that easy. Sign up for a free account. Join the event. It's their event, our event, if you will, which you can find on the homepage under Popular Retreats. You'll get a T-shirt courtesy of Full Press Apparel. Danny and the fine folks over at Full Press Apparel coming through yet again. Koozies, courtesy of B&B Sporting Goods. The Crown Royal promo team will be sampling different flavor combinations. That is to say, shots around, everybody. They're going, no, we don't call it that. We don't. Sorry. One ticket to the end of the night prize raffle. That raffle is a good one. Garnet and Gold, Clarn Country Club, Bumpa's Local, Butch Bundy, who's a PGA professional, giving you a lesson. Warchant.com, your subscription. Cigar City, Oscar Blues. Our good buddy Bill, Frequency XP, Fitness Assessment. That's a very valuable deal, plus 4 free workouts. Games for Less, Metro Deli, the Deck Pizza Pub, which is not open yet, but will be soon enough. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 100 wing, 2 pitchers. You get 2 of those. The night concludes at 7:30 as the Corner Pocket will turn up the sound for the LSU-Miami game. We look forward to it. Countless numbers of you come out every year for this, and it's always a lot of fun. I enjoy seeing you. I enjoy saying, hey, welcome back, football. Thanks so much for supporting us and for supporting the people that support us. It's going to be a great time. Willie Taggart there announcing the starting quarterback at Florida State. It's not a surprise that it is DeAndre Francois. The question was all along whether or not he could win back that locker room. Well, first the question was whether or not he'd be healthy enough, because he really was limited in spring. From there, he progressed nicely from a health standpoint and then was able to compete as we started fall camp. That competition was extremely close. It was not a runaway for DeAndre Francois. In fact, the difference between him and the other two was somewhat marginal. I think at the end of the day, more right decisions and fewer turnovers was the difference maker. But I think they have viable backups. I think Mr. Blackman is a very, very good backup here in this situation. Again, was very good in camp, much the way DeAndre was. Florida State lacks a dynamic Heisman-type quarterback currently on the roster. You don't have to have one of those to win the national championship. You don't have to have one of those to go to the college football playoff or win the ACC. Obviously, Clemson just last year won the ACC with less than a dynamic quarterback. You can have guys that have holes in their game or weaknesses in elements of their game, but do other things very, very well. But what you can't have is a guy that people don't trust. And what you can't have is a guy that people won't play hard for and that people won't lay it on the line for. And so kudos to DeAndre Francois, who I thought might really struggle in that arena. A guy that, upon getting hurt last year, probably did everything wrong that you could do in terms of sustaining a viable and healthy relationship with your teammates. That's a lot to overcome in addition to injury. But he did it. And I believe he did it because I don't think that Willie Taggart would be in the habit of having his first significant decision be one in which there are question marks surrounding the most important position on the field when it comes to leadership. I believe that had to have been resolved, that had to have been rectified in every way, shape, or form, and he had to have known that in addition to him being the right guy physically and mentally for the job. So congratulations to DeAndre Francois, and congratulations, again, to Coach Taggart for coming in and making a situation ultra competitive, asking of guys, hey, this is what I have to have from you, and getting one of those guys who's vital to your team's success, certainly to buy into that competition and to understand what is being asked, and then to reach out and accomplish that is something to behold, because kids don't always do that. 20-year-old kids do dumb things frequently. They don't always take that big step when you'd like them to. Eventually they come around to it. Most kids do, but sometimes it's a little too late. So I'm just happy for DeAndre Francois, and I'm happy that that competition was fair, and I'm happy that he was able to win it both on and off the field.
It was a change of scenery, yet he didn't go anywhere. A new coach came in, and that was enough to help repair his image. A brief and incomplete timeline of the situation here. DeAndre getting hurt last year, missed senior day. And then the offseason comes around, and Willie Taggart is not shy to challenge him multiple times through the media, saying he needs to do more, one of which was on National Signing Day. When the focus is on the 2018 signing class for Florida State, Willie wasn't afraid to bring up how DeAndre needs to be better, be present in meetings, invest in his teammates. Don't worry about the playbook, Willie Taggart said. Worry about how are you going to be a good leader today. And then, flash forward another 5 months, he comes to the ACC meetings in Charlotte that you attended, and he's willing to say things strongly enough, backing DeAndre Francois, that he almost took some of the blame away from DeAndre as to how things deteriorated last fall. He doesn't like to be betrayed, is one thing that Willie Taggart said about DeAndre. So at that point, you know that Willie is at least in his corner heading into camp, and Willie now is very much in DeAndre Francois' corner because DeAndre is the one who could take us to a season where we surprise a lot of people. We shall see.
I think James Blackman could do that as well. I think that they're two different guys in the sense that one is a little bit more dynamic of a runner than the other. But I think the deep ball is something that James Blackman does better than DeAndre, and I think DeAndre does some of the more athletic things that are required of the quarterback a little bit better than James Blackman does. But at the end of the day, this doesn't appear to be an offense that the quarterback has to be so fine-tuned and or Jameis-esque, for lack of a better term, because we're not running the same system. He does have to be, as most quarterbacks have to do, be smart with the football. He's got to make good decisions. He's got to be responsible. Don't turn the football over. If you don't turn the football over, we've got enough dynamic players in the backfield. And, that's another story of this camp to some degree is when you kind of look at the guys that emerged and players that continue, to kind of rise up the depth chart, if you will, you're seeing different names. And we already knew some guys were going to be great. You already knew that, obviously, to some extent, the whole focus would be on Cam Akers, and I understand that and get that. And the whole focus would be on a guy that has a chance to maybe amass, if you're counting reception yards and rushing, nearly 2,000 yards. But, I've had 4 or 5 people tell me that Anthony Grant has had this incredible camp, and some of the coaches have let that go too. I mean, there's a running back that nobody talked about prior to camp, and nobody really talked about in recruiting, but he's been really good, and I was told had a great scrimmage the other night.
Yeah, and Willie, you couldn't get the smile off of his face when he was trying to picture in his mind who the best players were in the second scrimmage, and then he was relaying it to the media. Warren Thompson was a name that came up, and that's a big one. Freshman receivers, right? That was a talking point when Willie Taggart took over here. But when he brought up Anthony Grant, he said, wow. Okay, and you could see the smile.
So pleased with him.
Yeah.
That's the last position on earth you thought you'd hear about a guy emerging and wowing and turning heads, because you already have so many guys that are established at the position who can do that on a regular basis, including the aforementioned Cam Akers. But we talk often about LeBourne. Obviously, the return of Jaquez Patrick gets largely overlooked by all the speed and elusiveness that you see elsewhere in that backfield. But there's another guy that will be a vital part of the success of that backfield. So no shortage of guys that can tote the rock, and that includes the new quarterback, who's the old quarterback, getting another opportunity. And we shouldn't forget that DeAndre Francois was the ACC Rookie of the Year, did a lot of things very, very well that first season that he played in 2016, has had some accuracy issues, but beyond that, I think he's done things that, kind of turn your head. Certainly there's no questioning his toughness.
No questioning his toughness as his ability to run in the open field, too. There's no questioning that. He's very natural in the open field. And Willie Taggart's offense, look at Herbert last year at Oregon, it can be run by different types of quarterbacks. So when you hear up-tempo, and you hear the pace idea, you think quick throws, you think a lot of throws, not so much between the tackles. But this is kind of the opposite of that in terms of, running the ball. We're going to run with physicality. But then the other stereotype is you think the quarterback's going to run a lot. Well, now that's the case. With DeAndre, I think he's going to be used probably, 6 to 8 times at minimum per game. He'll have the option in many more plays to keep the ball himself. But he's very good in space. The number one thing in limited action that I could see in the open practices, he's going to have to work on the fluidity of his footwork and getting the football out. If we're going to get a quick throw out with timing and you got to get it out to the bubble quick, you watch his footwork. His hips move quickly, but it looks like he wasn't as comfortable with the zone read stuff, which makes total sense given that, obviously mesh pointing wasn't a huge deal in Jimbo Fisher's offense. The quarterback would never keep the ball and run the ball. So there's different things he's got to think about and process now, and I just want to see the efficiencies in his games we move, and he's the guy. Let's see about these little details of running this offense. Is he where he needs to be?
By the way, it should be noted, and we'll get into it as the show goes along, other college football stories that begin to come out now as starters are named and off-the-field stuff happens. We look at the totality of college football and our place in it on the regular here. And how'd you like that just after we get off the air Friday evening dump from Ohio State where, my God, they once again butchered a very simple procedure. It's just not something you do, and it's silly, and it's embarrassing, and I'll speak on it later. But, yeah, it didn't go over our heads there. We saw Urban Meyer's, sorry about my demeanor at the press conference, apology for the press conference.
Yeah, it was a tweet.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Can't get in front of a camera?
And you can't do it sooner than Friday at 6-something o'clock?
Yeah.
My man.
Coward.
Those starters for Florida State looking more and more like Francois, Akers, Terry, Gavin, Murray, Williams, Kelly, Eberle, Minshew, Dickerson, McKitty. I think that's the way that's going to look.
McKitty was getting some love in the last week and a half, yeah.
Hard not to, right? That guy is so athletically gifted. Watching practice, when you go to a practice, he's one of the guys that and there's a slew of guys that stand out. And when you see him, you go, whoo. Well, that is different.
Yeah, what do you do with that is my first thought.
It's a really, difficult task, one would say the least. Look at the defense in a bit. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Neese Tire and Auto Service. Neese has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Neese Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Neese Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
If you're thinking of owning your own brand new premier home, call or text me at 850-545-4747 or email me, jeffdoxy1@gmail.com. You say where, I'll be there. Your Canopy Connection.
What's up, Jeff? How you doing today, bro?
Glorious. I thought it would never end. Interminable summer. Now here we are at the precipice of football.
It is indemitable. We get to sing songs and have fun outside.
Sing songs? I've never sung a song at a football game. You're singing?
Oh, we sing all the time. It's great.
The football I watch, we're yelling like gladiators for our team to win big.
Look, all I know is Friday night under the lights, it is fantastic.
Fridays. Saturdays, Eddie. Football is played on Saturdays. What are you talking about?
For a sports talk show host, you really don't know a lot about sports.
Eddie, we're talking football.
Yes, Jeff. Football.
No, football, Eddie. American football. Football. Say football.
Football.
Eddie, say foot.
Foot.
Ball.
Ball.
Football.
Football.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996. Try to be a redneck. Football.
Football, you all.
The holidays are coming. Well, in a few months, and that's why now is the time to shower up with a beautiful custom bath or shower enclosure from Widden Glass. Don't wait for the holiday rush. Widden Glass will take care of you this summer to your complete satisfaction. They've been helping to design and install bath and shower enclosures for Tallahassee homeowners for over 70 years. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with real glass people, experienced, reliable professionals. Widden's top-of-the-line bath and shower enclosures provide style and luxury at an affordable price. With the holidays coming, that means family, and that means now is the time to shower up with style.
Call today. Widden Glass, the real glass people. 222-5781 or online at widdenglass.com. WHIDDON. Widden, Tallahassee's first family in glass since 1945. 222-5781.
Get your weekend started right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Saturdays at 6 a.m. with Fishing Florida Radio. Listen to the three amigos, Boudreaux, Steve Chapman, and Captain Mike Ortega as they catch you up to speed on what's new and biting in the North Florida region. Big-time guests, celebrities, interviews, and 3 hours of the fishing info you need. Fishing Florida Radio is brought to you by Sea Quarters Marina off Highway 98 in Carabel. Sea Quarters Marina, your full-service marina. And presented by Hobbit American Grill and Mike's Marine Supply.
Fire the cannons.
Fire the cannons!
97.9 ESPN Radio is now Tallahassee's flagship station for Tampa Bay Buccaneers football.
The pass over the middle, caught ball, Cameron Brate, touchdown Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers football on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you in part by Fire Betty's Arcade Bar, Bagel Market Bistro, and by AmeriGas Propane of Tallahassee. The Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Big store pricing with local service. Online at ctf.nu.
And you don't even have to wait until Saturday morning. There's football on this Thursday. Glorious indeed. You know what else is glorious? My Pillow. I love My Pillow. You can love My Pillow. I saw a place locally, Tom. I went shopping this week to stock up. That should give it away. And when I did, I saw a fellow selling My Pillow, and I wanted to see if he was able to pitch it the way that I could pitch it. And he failed miserably. I'm a much better pitch guy for My Pillow than the guy at this particular establishment was. But I don't want to be that guy at that establishment working the weekend selling My Pillows. So I'll just do it here real quick and let you all know that you can get a really good pillow. It's a pillow. I'm not going to say all the things they want me to say about it. Like, oh my God, you'll never view the world the same way again. No, it's not. It's good. You just wake up and go, I feel pretty well rested. All right, let's get our day started. This pillow's all right with me. I'm going to take a shower. MyPillow.com. Click on the 4-pack special, enter the promo code 97.ESPN. You'll get 2 MyPillow premium pillows and go anywhere pillows for half off. MyPillow.com. Click on the 4-pack special, enter the promo code 97.ESPN. 800-944-6596, the number there. You can wash the MyPillow. You can dry MyPillow. It has a 10-year warranty. If you don't like MyPillow, you can return it, and they'll give you your money back within 60 days. That's what you got right there. It's all good. MyPillow.com. Get you one. I use it to also watch Netflix.
God, if they were a sponsor too, that would be one hell of a segue.
Oh, man. It's just fun to say things that are ridiculous.
A little bit less Netflix these days, though, buddy.
I know.
Spared time is spent watching the old pigskin.
That is true. There's catching up to do. There is a refresher course on any number of things. There are teams that I want to watch and I want to gauge, because I think this season lays out pretty interestingly. We've said that all offseason, but I think it's 100% true. And it starts with the first game. You know, I find it fascinating that Coach Fuente, whom I interviewed, and you'll hear this week, continues the woe is me, oh, I don't know how we're going to compete mantra of the summer this week again. He has been asked countless times what he thinks about starting the season with Florida State on the road on a Monday night with the nation watching, the mega cast included. And I know people can't wait to hear from Hugh Freeze. So there's all of that.
Is that who's on the megacast?
Yeah, it's one of the guys on the megacast.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. This is where ousted coaches go to
I'll still
make
tape
a living.
it, though.
Yeah.
I'll tape it for some insights.
Yeah, insights, sure. So here's the thing. You know, that he has taken the approach. I give him credit. He's stuck with it the entire offseason. Since day one, he's been asked about it. And they were going through so many problems in Blacksburg, especially on defense, losing vital personnel, either due to the NFL draft and an early entry. Academics was a problem, a couple off-the-field issues, and injuries. So they had a lot of things to deal with this offseason, none of which were good, and all of which involved a number of departures on a defense that will be pretty green when they make their way to Tallahassee a week from today. And his approach wasn't to try to infuse confidence through the media. It wasn't to try to tell everybody, hey, listen, we've done a great job of recruiting, next man up, as a lot of coaches say. It wasn't to tell everyone, got my experienced quarterback who's played in big games on the road already early in his career. I believe he's taking a step forward. We're going to be okay. No, none of that. None of that. It was, I don't know. I'm a little scared about this game. And that struck me as rather amazing. Yes, he reached down deep and found his inner Brady Hoke in order to be able to pull that off, but he did. And he noted time and again that I'm a little sad that we have to play this game first. Wish it wasn't the opening game. This kind of a game favors the more experienced team. It's not ideal for us to have to play this game. Any number of excuses or deflections away from having to talk about it in a way that shows any level of confidence whatsoever. And that's odd. But he hasn't wavered in that approach. Just last week he was asked about it again, and he said it's not ideal, but I'm not going to pout about it.
Well, present quote accepted. I guess you could do that.
I think it's funny. He's trying to downplay any chance they have, even though I'm sure deep down inside he thinks he's got something laying in wait to surprise Florida State's offense and defense. But Foster wouldn't approach it any other way. And, he's had an awful lot of success. Both of them have, Foster and Fuente for that matter. Enough that you wouldn't buy into the woe is me. I don't know how we're going to be able to compete.
What struck me, though, is just when he talked to you, that's now, about 6 weeks ago? Mm-hmm. The idea that the kids weren't buying in, that sticks with me. I know that it may have seemed overblown in the moment, but does it seem overblown now? He's talking about how when he walked in day one, I get it. The kids were losing, so it was easy for them to buy in. Willie Taggart's even mentioned something to that end where he said, I've never had a camp where I had to, get kids to be excited to come to practice every day. Where I haven't had to do that. And this camp, everybody's excited to come to practice every day because, they're seeing that we're building a culture here. But, damn, if you're bringing your kids into the program and that first class you brought in is now a junior in your program or a senior, if they've used all their eligibility, you would think there's just a way we do things. There's a way we go about doing things. You hear that so often.
It's passed on from the previous, yeah.
Apparently not. Apparently the young kids are just, I don't even know what. They're there because that was their only choice. It doesn't sound healthy. If I'm a Virginia Tech booster or I'm a fan, it's not just the quotes he's saying about, I don't want to play Florida State week one. It's kids aren't buying in. What are we doing, sir?
I think that, I think he was so distraught by some of the setbacks defensively and the amount of guys that they didn't anticipate having to play that constantly teaching as opposed to preparing game plan wise and getting kids capable of understanding some of the basics was what he was tasked with in this offseason and what he had been dealing with on and off for the weeks on end, that maybe he was caught in a vulnerable moment and chose to kind of talk down the team's chances as to not put too much pressure on them early on. I know what you're talking about. I just don't believe that he doesn't have in place a certain core set of values, for lack of a better term, not to play off of Urban Meyer's ignored core set of values, but a way of doing things entrenched in the first 3 years that he's been there that everybody understands and abides by. I'm sure that is in play.
I would hope so, but when you say it's more like year one than year three, that's also an alarming way to label it. It's like we got to reintroduce everything. It's like year one. My first year here was kind of like year three in the program, but this year is more like year one. Woo. So, there's two reasons that I'm concerned about that. One would be the obvious. Mm-hmm. The second one would be, you don't seem to be handling this so well. I mean, is this a motivational tactic to go to the media?
Yeah, so here's what I do think, and we'll have fun with this, and it's easy to get distracted with this because the football game is the football game, and they'll be prepared to play it or they won't. They'll show up and play well or they won't. The result will be the result, and we'll be diving into that. But there is a larger picture discussion to have here. It's not today. It's not this week necessarily. It's down the line as the season progresses, especially as we pay attention to what Virginia Tech is or is not accomplishing.
Watching it closely.
Yeah, because in the interview, which, again, you'll hear probably Thursday or Friday of this week, we'll play it for you, I gave him a chance to prop up Virginia Tech. I gave him a chance to talk about the place that is Blacksburg, that he and his family chose, that when he had the opportunity to leave Memphis, he wasn't going to take just any job. He had said that before. He was looking for a place, a community, that he and his family could fall in love with and be in line with, a certain way of living and an institution that he could be all in and believing in and being a part of. And he was very proud of that Virginia Tech met all of those criteria. He's got younger kids. And you were at that interview that I did with him a couple of years ago when he talked about that very thing. And you could see that was genuine, right? I gave him that same opportunity because this offseason, Coach Fuente was courted, so if you believe the rumors, by perhaps Florida State and several other teams, to gauge interest in whether or not he would so quickly leave a Virginia Tech program that he had already vowed that he would be with for some time, because they wanted to know, well, gosh, he seems like he's really happy there. He's had early success. He's won 18 games in 2 years. He was he was on the cusp of playing for an ACC championship, so he's already done a couple real good things to move past where Beamer had the program at the time. Doesn't seem like a job he'd be interested in just yet, because Virginia Tech's a good job. And that was his chance to say, well, I love it here, and I wouldn't have thought about going anywhere else. And he didn't take that opportunity. And that struck both you and me. He didn't say that. He said, well, I'm happy, but I never think you should say you're going to stay at one place for any length of time. I mean, I think it comes back to bite you, and he kind of opened the door.
Well, and that's the first time, at least, that we could find, because if you listen to David Teal, who does a great job up there, even though he's not the day-to-day beat reporter for Virginia Tech, he's as dialed in as anybody. And he's mentioned on several occasions that he was struck at how effusive Justin Fuente would be in praising Virginia Tech. And that was this year after the rumors circulated, that people might have been putting feelers out about it.
Just
you interested?
Engaging interest, yeah.
And he would double down and talk about the greatness of Blacksburg and why this is a job that you take for life, or something along the lines where you think about it's a long-term job.
Long-term fit, right.
And then you get that same guy 6 months later, and he's willing to say, never say never.
Never say never, which he's right about, by the way. I mean, that's what coaches ought to say at all times, unless you're at a place like, I suppose, Bama or Notre Dame or something like that. You should pretty much always say that you're open to listen to any job offer. As I bring up on this show all the time, you owe it to yourself to listen to the offer. You never know. I mean, you could be firmly entrenched. You could decide that there's no way in hell I'm going to take that job, but you might hear something that piques your interest, not in terms of maybe taking the job, but what you might want from your own job, or what you might then ask for from your own employers. Or it may end up being an offer that you simply cannot refuse. You always listen to job offers, but it was very interesting the way he phrased it.
Well, what's crazy, bottom line, is that you would think at the conclusion of the 2017 football season that, we knew this game was going to happen, scheduled a couple of years out, that when we are approaching game week, it's Monday, it's a longer game week because it's a Labor Day night game. But you would think, flash forward, okay, the question marks would all be on Willie Taggart's side of the ledger. You'd say, all right.
Yeah, we would have, and they're not.
Florida State has all of these question marks, but Virginia Tech has a good quarterback coming back, played in big games. They've lost a little bit on defense, but that coaching staff, people marvel at the ability for Bud Foster to prepare for one-off games, and Justin Fuente is a bright offensive mind. Florida State's they got a mess to deal with. 7-6 last year, and yet here we are game week, and Florida State's a touchdown favorite. We're saying, oh man, Virginia Tech with all these question marks. You know what? I think there's a baseline of what Florida State's able to do this week that puts them in the driver's seat for this game.
It's bizarre, and I may be overreacting to week one. I may be caught up in the enthusiasm, the excitement, and the zeal I feel for the start of a new season, in particular, the start of Florida State's season. But I feel like this game on Monday night is going to go one of two ways. Florida State's going to win convincingly, and we're going to feel really good about what just transpired this offseason in the transition. What took place, the coaching staff, their ability to implement, to get kids to buy in and play hard, and the execution of those new systems offensively and defensively in a high-profile game with the nation watching in a debut right here. We're going to celebrate that big moment and move forward with probably overly optimistic expectations after Monday night's game. If it's a big win, that's what will happen. Everybody will get in line with, well, there was talent here last year. They were preseason top 5. It came off the tracks early, but it wasn't because they were lacking talent. And all of a sudden, you'll hear everybody talking about, well, it's a possibility they're undefeated before they play Miami, and they're going to assume big wins over the remainder of that schedule prior to Miami, and that includes games against Syracuse and Louisville on the road. And, hey, if they win that game, who knows, could be undefeated before they play Clemson, looking at the possibility of going to the college football playoff. I can picture all of this gaining momentum and getting out of control the way things do because wins and losses happen for a reason. Or slap across the face, holy jeez, it's going to be a difficult season. We're nowhere close. This system takes some getting used to. Guys aren't ready for it yet. We're not deep enough. We're not talented enough yet because we're going to be in shock coming in on a Tuesday after an upset loss at home and embarrassed with a tail between our legs. Like, one of those two things is going to happen. It's not, in my mind, going to be, now watch, this is exactly what it'll be because it's the all too early prediction model.
Yeah.
But here you go. It's not going to be 27-24 last second field goal. We win it. Whew. Thank goodness. I don't know what to make of this. Let's take some time to digest. I think we're going to win big, or we're going to be, or we're going to lose. And I don't know. I don't think lose big is in the equation. We're either going to win big, or we're just going to lose the game. I don't think it'll be 20-14. Don't know what to think about this.
The people want to know. So, how do you feel though?
I feel good about the game. I feel really good about the game.
Likelihoods.
I lean towards us winning the game fairly comfortably. But it's game one. And I caution me. I tell myself this. I tell you this. We do this every year. I mean, I didn't pick us against Alabama last year.
Correct.
But that was Alabama. It was pretty easy to say, I'm going to go with the side that always wins that first game of the year at a conference at the neutral site contest. I'm just going to go with that one, right? And it still didn't go the way I thought. Alabama won, but it did. They won for different reasons. This isn't Alabama. Virginia Tech's not Alabama. So we should win this game at home with all that Virginia Tech's gone through, and it would be a great start to Willie and his staff's new start here in Tallahassee. If they lose it, gosh, I do wonder, how do we overreact the wrong way there? How does that play out?
Depends how you lose it. Is it?
It always does.
Fumble luck, sir, or is it that the trenches have been dominated on both sides? Big difference.
Yeah, the concern, and it has been for some time now, is again the offensive line. How do they hold up? If they play well, I think we're in good shape. And I think you could be looking at, Tom, little 34-17 type.
Are there any positive whispers about the offensive line?
Yeah, it's not that they're not considered to be a dominant group, but if they're healthy, I'm told that Coach Fry feels like they're more than adequate, certainly. I mean, I just don't think you're going to get rave reviews yet because...
Buddy, more than adequate is outstanding.
Hey, we're more than adequate.
That is more than satisfactory.
I'll take that. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Hey, this is Wendell Parker of Parker Brothers Roofing. Most startup companies go out of business within their first 3 years. It takes years of experience for a roofing company to be exposed to and learn all the things that can go wrong. Don't gamble your valuable home to an inexperienced roofer. Parker Brothers has been in business in the community since 1995. Give us a call now at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
CGC 042221, CCC 049350.
Wow, E Plus is great.
E Plus? Is that like A Plus?
It's better. The E stands for energy, but it should stand for easy.
Easy Plus?
Yep, easy ways to save energy, water, and money through the City of Tallahassee utilities. Easy ways to monitor our account, easy ways to pay our bill online, check our balance, compare usage history, and so much more.
And I see the City of Tallahassee Utilities has a smart bill, which sends our bill directly to our email inbox for easy payment online, too. What a time saver.
And when we download the City of Tallahassee's digital app, we can do everything on our phones, even report service issues like a power outage or blocked road.
Plus, when we go to talgov.com, we can get more information on other great City of Tallahassee utilities, like the Energy Star rebates and insulation grants. Wow, the E really should stand for easy.
Yep, E Plus from the City of Tallahassee Utilities. It helps customers save energy, water, and money.
Come out and try Guthrie's Golden Fried Chicken Fingers, located in Tallahassee on 1818 West Tennessee Street and 2550 North Monroe Street. Guthrie's is a family-owned and operated restaurant, proudly in business for over 50 years. Since Guthrie's first introduced their chicken fingers in 1978, everybody's been falling hard for those golden fried chicken fingers, crispy fries, buttery Texas toast, creamy coleslaw, and of course, the signature sauce. So come out and try it yourself at either one of Guthrie's Tallahassee locations.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology actively invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you, the needle in the haystack.
Try ZipRecruiter now for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/find. That's ZipRecruiter.com/find.
Time now for your Atlanta Braves Minute. Brought to you by Fonville, Lewis, Messer, and McConaughey. Personal injury law is all they do.
Yesterday afternoon down in Miami, Braves and Marlins for the final time in a 4-game series. Braves are hoping to win the series. That way they could gain a split in Miami and a 5-2 road trip. It was Kevin Gausman versus Pablo Lopez, and both pitchers were pitching the ball very effectively. No score through 5 innings. That changed in the 6th inning on an RBI single from Tyler Flowers to make it 1-0. And then the Braves picked up the insurance they were looking for in the 8th inning when Ronald Acuna came to the plate.
Tries again to Acuna, swinging a ground ball to the right side. It's backhanded by Dietrich. Throws to the plate. It skips through a collision between Culberson and Holiday. The ball goes to the backstop. Flowers will also score.
Braves went on to score 3 times there in the 8th inning, and they won 4-0 over the Marlins, limiting the Marlins to just 2 base hits as the Braves shut them out. So the Braves now 73-57 with a 3-game lead in the division going into tomorrow. Braves off today, but take on the Tampa Bay Rays tomorrow night in Game 1 of a 2-game series versus Tampa and Game 1 of a 9-game homestand. 7:35 Eastern, 6:35 Central tomorrow night on the Braves Radio Network. I'm Ben Ingram. This has been your Atlanta Braves Radio Network update.
Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey sponsors Braves baseball so that all of you can enjoy the action. Ever since the days of Hank Aaron and Dale Murphy, we've been Tallahassee's home run hitting law firm. And because we don't get paid unless we win, we want to win every case as much as Chipper Jones wanted to win every game. So when you're injured, don't just trust any law firm to handle your case. Make the call to the bullpen for a trusted closer. To see our stats on the back of our baseball card, visit wrongfullyinjured.com. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Personal injury law is all we do.
Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Appreciate all the input, too, by the way. If you're emailing, we do get them. Takes me a while to get caught up sometimes, but always appreciate the fodder, too, and the insight. JCS at 979, ESPNradio.com. So, it's funny. We've spent a lot of time and looking at this week one, and week one is spectacular. Washington, Auburn probably tops the list outside of the games that don't involve Florida State. But obviously LSU and Miami's a fun game. I don't really look at the Alabama trouncing of Louisville as much of a fun game that some people have noted. I'm not a fan of that game, but Notre Dame, Michigan is incredible.
Yeah, that's what you're going to pivot to. You're going to go Auburn, Washington, then to Notre Dame and Michigan, and that's one hell of a Saturday.
It's as good a Saturday. I mean, usually there are a few games every year to start the season that you go, oh, wow, how about this? We get so-and-so and so-and-so in week one. But, man, we get 5 or so that I really love. Notre Dame, Michigan, Florida State, Virginia Tech, obviously. I just mentioned Washington and Auburn. I think some of the games that may not get the national attention but I find intriguing just because both sides need to get off to a good start for various reasons would be West Virginia, Tennessee. That's high on the list. That's intrigue.
Also a 3:30, so that's the when you go to commercial break on the big one, Washington and Auburn. Then you keep an eye on West Virginia, Tennessee, and maybe they give you a good one. I mean, West Virginia played Virginia Tech last year. That was the Monday night opener, and that game was wildly entertaining. And it didn't mean that those two teams are going to go on to play in the playoff or anything like that, but I mean, you get your money's worth. So hopefully West Virginia delivers again.
I think it's interesting the range of opinions you get on Jeremy Pruitt and his opportunity to succeed or not succeed at Tennessee. Certainly nobody, even those that think he will succeed, overwhelmingly so, nobody believes, including those folks in his corner, that this is going to be a great year at Tennessee. Not with that schedule. They did him no favors, but he's got to find a way to turn what is a brutal schedule, and by brutal schedule I mean one that will feature probably 4 to 6 losses, into some sort of recruiting haul, which again is so difficult to do if you get off on the wrong foot and you're already in a division that features a Georgia team that is running away with the East from a recruiting standpoint and certainly on the field a year ago. You fall further behind. Dan Mullen has to do the same thing. And it's interesting to listen to Florida fans who respond to me by noting that he's a great teacher of the game, he's a great in-game coach, and whatever lack of success he is seeing currently in recruiting, he will make up for on the field with good decisions, better game day, game time management of games, better quarterback play, etc., and that in turn will lead to the recruiting successes that are currently lacking. Well, if you're a Florida fan, that's the way you have to look at it, because you can't certainly look at anything he's done off the field this year as a success. since taking the job. You better look at it as, well, we're just going to play better because we have a more knowledgeable coach at the helm who's got a track record of getting the most out of poor quarterbacks. Well, you got a poor quarterback. He's got what he needs to prove himself yet again.
Yes, check that box.
Check that box.
Okay.
Sorry, ass quarterbacks that he has to make look adequate. Okay, we'll see if he can do that.
They announced their starter today at the University of Florida.
Felipe Franks.
They did. It's a big day for them.
You know, again, I think I would, if I were them, really hope, a little bit against hope, but the thought would be that, well, we got a guy that I think knows what he's doing on game day. He won at Mississippi State.
You got to cling to that, though, like a scared toddler, you know?
Well, I mean, but I think there's some truth to that. I mean,
that's scary Easter bunny that, they have to take a photo with. They're not leaving mom's leg. You're just locked in.
Not real sure about it all?
You're staying with her, step for step.
Wow. I that's exactly what I would do. But as you take inventory of the state and the week one, Miami fans have reason to be excited. They made the ACC championship game last year, first time since joining the conference. It's been eons since they even mattered, and people mentioned them in any way other than in jest. So they come into this season feeling very, very good about it. Florida State fans obviously pumped about the transition and feeling very, very good about their chances to do a hell of a lot better than 7-6 a year ago. That's for sure. And then there's Florida, who goes, well, we got somebody better than McElwain, surely.
When you're looking through the state, I was just looking at the entire slate, and I have to say, you brought this up maybe 2 months ago. Friday night, 7 p.m., little Army Duke.
You're damn right you're watching Friday night Army Duke.
All in. That's going to be a great time.
A war. My God, what a game, Tom. That game could come down to the wire, I tell you.
Easy on the war analogy, sir.
Oh, sure, because I'm being serious. Odell Beckham's rich. You already knew that. He's really, really rich. That is a 5-year, $90 million with escalators, bringing the total to $95 million, $41 million guaranteed, with $65 million guaranteed for injury.
Oh, really?
Oh, my goodness.
My hamstring, sir.
It is the largest contract for a receiver in NFL history. The standoff worked.
Guess that Lady of the Night illicit substance video didn't really do him any harm at all.
You know, you might say that is a league of mercenaries. You might say that kind of stuff doesn't shake them. Catching a lot of passes and scoring touchdowns and winning football games does. So, you got a thing for hookers and blow and video? You're good to go. It's the off season, man. You're going to get your money. Hour 2 forthcoming. Stay with.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
American football. Football. Say football.
Football.
Eddie, say foot.
Foot.
Ball.
Ball.
Football.
Football.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996. Try to be a redneck. Football.
Football, you all.
Are you ready to experience an awesome fishing expedition? Sea Quarters Marina is home to several great charter services. All charters are customized based upon the types of fishing opportunities available and the type of fishing the customer requests. The Northwest Gulf Coast offers a variety of different angling adventures thanks to unspoiled back county islands and crystal clear flats. For more information regarding charters, call Sea Quarters Marina at 697-8400 or online at seaquartersmarina.com.
You know Tasty Pastry for the wonderful special occasion cakes and delicious pastries. But do you know that they have a great selection of casseroles for dinner? Favorites like shepherd's pie, chicken pot pie, chicken parmesan, beef stroganoff, and many more. They also have breakfast sandwiches, egg casseroles, and quiche in many flavors available for takeout. Located at 1355 Market Street. Tasty Pastry Bakery, a Tallahassee tradition since 1963.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan, and it's Truck Month at Kraft Nissan. 2018 Frontier King Cab S models with automatic transmission start at only $20,495. Compare that to the Toyota Tacoma King Cab SR model with automatic transmission. At invoice minus rebates, Tacoma starts at $24,646. That's $4,151 more than our Frontier. Or the full-size Titan and Titan XD, starting at only $20,995 for a 2018 Titan Single Cab S model. Even better, just $26,995 for a 2018 Titan Crew Cab S model. And it's only at Kraft Nissan. Plus, the Nissan Titan has America's best truck warranty of 5 years or 100,000 miles bumper to bumper. So please, before you buy a Dodge, Chevy, Ford, or Toyota, check out the Nissan Frontier and Titan trucks. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. Prices include dealer preparation charge and Nissan Conquest or Loyalty Truck Cash.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
O'Reilly. Defend your vehicle from harmful elements and restore shine with Armor All Original Protectant. For a limited time, O'Reilly Auto Parts has a great deal on a 16-ounce bottle of Armor All Protectant for $4.99. Renew, revitalize, and protect your vehicle with Armor All Protectant. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Driving every day from the AmeriGas studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, Giants receiver Odell Beckham Jr. is now the highest paid receiver in the NFL. ESPN's Josina Anderson reporting he's getting a 5-year, $95 million max deal from the Giants, $65 million guaranteed. The new contract runs through the 2023 season. And credit Beckham for quietly going about his business this summer and getting rewarded, says ESPN's Louis Riddick.
He did exactly what he was supposed to do. He held up his end. Whether you think he was doing it just as a means to an end in order to get paid, that remains to be seen, but he conducted himself the right way. He diligently went about his rehab. He showed up. He was a guy who you didn't hear very much from in terms of making any kind of outlandish statements. He just went about his work.
A major injury for the Jags to deal with. Receiver Marquise Lee on IR will miss the entire season because of a knee injury suffered in Saturday's preseason game. The Patriots and starting right guard Shaq Mason agreed on a 5-year extension worth up to $50 million. It is one and done for the women's top seed at the U.S. Open. At tennis's final major of the year, Simona Halep lost in straight sets to Kaya Kanepi. Halep, the first #1 seeded woman to lose in the first round of the Open in the professional era. Future Basketball Hall of Famer Manu Ginobili announcing his retirement after 16 seasons with the Spurs. College football, Alabama coach Nick Saban released his team's first official depth chart today. but neglected to say whether Jalen Hurts or Tua Tagovailoa will be the starting quarterback in Saturday's season opener against Louisville. Florida State named DeAndre Francois its starting quarterback against Virginia Tech. He missed most of last season with a torn patellar tendon in his left knee. Michigan State quarterback Nick Fitzgerald suspended Saturday against Stephen F. Austin for violating team rules in March. Keaton Thompson starts in his place.
Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Great to be with you. Hope you're well on this Monday, football week. We did have football over the weekend, and I did watch it, but this feels a little bit more grand now, doesn't it, with Florida State just a week out, and the news coming down today that Willie Taggart has announced DeAndre Francois as his starting quarterback. Close competition, worthy competition, good competition, fewer mistakes. DeAndre Francois is the guy. So he gets another chance and hopefully makes the most of it. I'm looking forward to it. I congratulate the young man, certainly overcoming an awful lot in the way of both injury and immaturity, and growing up right before our eyes and getting kids to trust again in him, and getting Coach Taggart and his staff to do that is an accomplishment, especially if you kind of start off on the wrong foot. And by all accounts, he had. And so it's good to see that kind of maturity and that kind of growth from him. As always, as we're wont to do on Mondays, we get the hour started with our good friend Ira Shafel. WarChant.com joins us now. WarChant.com, the website. Go there, find out all the good stuff, including the latest 3-2-1. Hello, Ira. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, Jeff. How are you?
I couldn't be better, man. Doing well and excited about the start of the season. Not a real big surprise. I know you wrote that on WarChant.com today, that DeAndre Francois has won the job. I guess overall impression now that we are set up for game week and install begins and all of that of camp?
I just think that, again, I think that DeAndre, I do think he gives you the best chance to win. Now, I think the question is, does this mean he's going to be a superstar, or does this mean he's the best option they've got? And I think my impression is he's definitely the best option they got, and I think he could be really good in this offense. But, he's probably going to have some limitations as well. I don't think this is a situation where it's Jameis versus Clint Trickett. I think they've got, three good options there, and if DeAndre struggles, I do think that, those other guys will be options. But I think it's good that they've got it decided, and those guys can rally around him and kind of see what they can do with a game just over a week away.
Well, let's start with some of the more fundamental things that were being asked at the start of the quarterback competition, and that would have been, how is his knee? How close are we to say 100% at this point? What do we know about DeAndre Francois? Does he have a complete a go of health and bill of health at this point, or is he still somewhat limited at all for people who didn't see camp or hear about it?
Everything we've seen him do, he looks fine. I mean, he runs without a limp. He, seems to be running side to side, does just about everything he wanted to do. The only thing that we haven't seen him do, and I don't know if he's done it all, is take a hit on or near the knee. And I asked DeAndre about that about a week ago, and he said, yeah, still haven't done that. And when I asked Willie about it, he was kind of like, yeah, I mean, we don't, that's not something we're planning to do. We're not really going to test it out with a big collision. They're going to see how he does in the game. But I would think if the fact that he's been cleared to play, the fact that he's been practicing for 3 or 4 weeks, they feel like it's sound structurally. Now, something crazy could happen, but he doesn't seem to be limited at all. And I do think running is going to be a big part of what he does. And I think that's part of why he's the quarterback. I think, there's things with all the attention that's going to be on those running backs. I think that opens up a lot of opportunities for him to run the ball, and he's clearly the best runner of that group.
Yeah, without question, he is, and he adds that dynamic to an offense and to that position. Defenses now having to respect that and account for the quarterback. And for Florida State fans that have been wanting the quarterback to be more instrumental in the run game and to force defenses to have to account for the quarterback in that way, and the way that we saw other offenses routinely doing, but that Florida State was not under Jimbo Fisher, that will be a welcome sight. What to you is the most glaring concern, this being game week? If you're a Florida State fan, what are you most worried about as they go into the game against Virginia Tech?
Personally, I guess it would just be the health of some key guys on defense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that I'm not very concerned about the offense. I think the offense is going to be fine. If there becomes problems on offense, to me, it might be later in the year if you have some injuries, especially in the offensive line, because they don't have a lot of quality depth there. But on defense, look, I mean, you're right now, Josh Kando is never seemingly healthy. We've all kind of penciled him into the starting lineup, and he's done some things during preseason. But again, today he was not out there. And when I asked Willie Taggart how Marvin and Josh did in the scrimmage, he only talked about Marvin. And then today at practice, Josh was not with the rest of the team. So I have to assume that it doesn't look great for his prospects of playing. It's certainly at full speed. Stanford Samuels is still kind of questionable for that game. Dontavius Jackson was back at practice, the linebacker, but he's been a little bit banged up. So I think this defense has a chance to be pretty good, especially as the year goes on. But if you talk about taking 2 or 3 big-time players out of that lineup, that would be a little bit of a concern for me, especially against Virginia Tech team who like their quarterback, and I think that they're going to know they have to take some chances and be aggressive, given what they're facing on their defense.
If Kando is out, who do you expect to be? Obviously, I mean, you got Janarius Robinson and Brian Burns, I guess, at that point, and Wally Ame.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Burns will start on the weak side or the field side, and then, I think Janarius Robinson or Wally Ame. My guess is be Wally Ame. I think he'll be the guy. I think he's looked good when we've seen him. Janarius Robinson has played both sides, and they've got a couple other guys that backups that can play. But the difference between Kando and either of those other guys, I think Kando was a guy you thought could make the big impact plays. Big tackles for loss, maybe deflect a pass, those types of things. I don't think you're going to see dynamic plays out of either Robinson or Ame.
Do they? I don't want to put you on the spot, but is there a feel that they're not going to have Kando back anytime soon?
Well, it's been impossible to really tell. I mean, they've been saying all along that they thought he would be back, and he has practiced some. We've seen him go through some drills here and there, but he would not ever discuss what his injury is. He refused to give any information about his injury. Willie Taggart has never been specific about his injury. The only thing I've seen at all was one day I saw him with a little bit of a shoulder strap on, or harness. But he's been in and out. And then again, the fact that Willie was coy about him on Saturday, and then he was with the guys rehabbing today. Just not a great sign. I'm not saying he's out, but if he's a guy that you're kind of they kept leading us to believe he would be back, and the signs aren't great right now.
I think going into the season, most Florida State fans would tell you they were concerned about offensive line and maybe linebacker. You just mentioned Dontavius Jackson. He's a player that I've been told has had a good camp when he's played and is a guy that has made huge strides. We thought physically he looked like a player that could emerge, but we're not seeing as much from an Emmett Rice or a Josh Brown. Talk to me about the linebackers. I know it's less important of a position than it used to be because you so frequently have 5 defensive backs on the field, but what are we looking at linebacker?
Yeah, that's one position that there's been great competition, and it doesn't seem like I don't know that they've settled in a starting 3. I think Dontavius Jackson obviously is going to be a starter if he's healthy. He's probably the most surefire kind of linebacker that they have. They have a lot of the other guys. I think they've been really impressed by some of the young players, DeKalen Brooks, Jaden Woodby. They're both a little bit undersized, and neither one has played in a college football game. Then you have a couple of the other guys that have more experience, like Leonard Warner, and a couple of Adonis Thomas and a couple of those guys, but they haven't been world beaters by any stretch when they played. So, that group, I think is a little bit of it's going to be a little bit of a question mark, I think, going through the season. I do think at the end of the day, I think when you look at Ja'Kalen Brooks, he's a football player. I think he's going to make plays. I think Dontavius Jackson will make plays. I think Jaden Woodby will make plays. I think it's going to be a matter of figuring out, balancing experience versus playmaking ability. But I think that position is going to be one you're going to see different combinations all year. I don't think that's going to be one where they settle on it in week one. I think you're going to see from game to game and sometimes during games, I think you're going to see a lot of different combinations at that position.
Will we not know as we go to secondary about Stanford Samuels Jr. until the actual night of the game, or are we not? Do they plan on letting us know whether or not he's going to make a start?
Well, I think that's one we're going to be watching pregame warm-ups to really get an idea because the way Willie talked about him, it made it sound like they think he's going to be available, but by all accounts, with the injury he had, you wouldn't have expected that necessarily. So I think he's healed really quickly. I've seen him jog around a little bit, but he's not practicing yet. He's a really smart kid, so I think he doesn't need a ton of game reps. But my guess is, again, that's going to be one that goes down to the wire. And it wouldn't shock me if he doesn't play or is really limited because, again, we're a week out and he's been out for over a week.
I'm curious, what do you make of all the talk of Anthony Grant? It's not like they're not loaded already at the position, but clearly that's a kid that has come in and gotten their attention. I've had 4 different people talk to me about the camp that Anthony Grant's had, and I know going into the start of camp, nobody was talking about Anthony Grant. Not that he couldn't play, but, I mean, they're so loaded at running back, you just didn't figure you'd hear about a freshman, but he's turning their head.
Yeah, and he's one that, like you say, even now, after what all we've heard about him, you still don't know how he fits in exactly.
Right.
Because, again, you're talking about Cam Akers and Kalen LeBourne, who has been one of the best players all preseason, and Jacquez Patrick's in really good shape. And then you still have Amir Rasul. So, yeah, it's not like they have a need there, but he, from anybody you talk to that's been in scrimmages or been in 11-11 where they're really competing, and from the limited things we've seen, you just come away going, man, that guy's special. So I'm curious to see how they're going to use him. I think, any of those backs better be careful with ball security. Those backs all better figure out ways to make sure they don't get fired because he's going to steal reps if those older guys give him a chance.
One thing I think that has emerged from camp, we have some concerns about depth and experience, I should say, on defense. And maybe there's some of those concerns at various positions on offense, but the feeling is this offense figured it out and got it going. And if the offensive line is even average, they're going to light people up because they've got a ton of skill position, including players that maybe they didn't know could be as good as they are this quickly. And I think that's part of it when we talk about him. But, I guess we could talk about a Warren Thompson and guys like that have emerged. They love what they have at wide receiver, don't they?
Yeah, and that was probably as big a question as anything coming into camp because they just were so thin at that position. Losing Auden Tate and Ryan Izzo at tight end just seemed like such big blows for a group that was already wasn't coming off a very good year. But I think Nyquan Murray has come back way better than I expected. I had a lot of questions about Murray coming back from the injury, whether or not he would rehab well, and how good he'd feel about a knee. At that position, but man, he's been really impressive. Then we all know about Tamori and Terry. He's more than lived up to the hype. And then you bring in these young guys who have really impressed everybody. I mean, I don't think anybody expected. I certainly didn't expect that a bunch of freshman receivers would play that well. But again, if you look back at Willie's history and if you look at Walt Bell's history, in their offenses, receivers play and they play well and they perform at a high level because it's not so difficult to learn. And it's just something we're not used to seeing around here. But there's a lot of skill at both. Obviously, we know about running back, a lot of skill at receiver and at tight end. So, yeah, if they can block it up at all, I think Francois, again, I'm probably a little bit more high on Francois than some other people. I think this offense has a chance to really be special.
Well, yeah, and you don't have to be, and I'm not trying to take a veiled dig at him, but you don't have to be elite, I don't think, in this offense. You just don't need to, be smart with the ball. Don't turn it over and get it out quickly to players that can make guys miss, and the numbers are going to be there.
Yeah, and I think he's going to look better. And I took some heat, earlier in the year. I talked about his accuracy, and some people felt like we didn't see that 2 years ago. I just think you're going to see him look a lot more accurate now with an offense that he understands, where he knows where he's going with the ball. He doesn't have to hold on to it for 4 or 5 seconds while, the offensive line's letting the defensive front take free shots at him. I think you're going to see him look a lot better than he did last time we saw him in terms of accuracy. And again, and the fact that he can stretch the field with that arm, again, there's just a lot to be excited about. I think the offense has kind of started to have its way a little bit with the defense, but I think that's more a sign of how far the offense has come than it is that the defense isn't what we thought it could be.
I'm trying to tackle so much here because I'm excited just like everybody else, and I want to get the information out there. But I was asking you about players that are expected to contribute on both sides of the ball, some of which have been injured and missed camp, and some who came into camp injured but have been slowly picking it up lately. Marvin Wilson. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about Marvin Wilson, a guy that if you've watched the videos, and I saw the first week of practice, you saw was a little bit limited, has been picking up steam as camp has gone along, and now looks like a guy that's having fun out there. Talk about Marvin Wilson.
Well, he's definitely one that we didn't know what to expect, and we had heard late in the summer that he may not be available for Virginia Tech, and the timetable was looking a little dicey there, whether or not he would be full speed. And about a week ago on media day, he told me he's 3 weeks ahead of schedule, and that he was hoping to get cleared for contact this past week. And sure enough, he played in the scrimmage, and Willie Taggart's face when we asked about him today was kind of said it all. He was just kind of smiled. He said he looked pretty good, and then he just smiled like, yeah. It's like Wayne Gretzky said his wife looked pretty good.
Oh, man.
And then as soon as we get on the field to watch Oklahoma drills, he just tosses aside Mike Arnold, makes a play, slams his helmet down, going crazy. I mean, it was, I don't think they've had anybody like that in terms of the personality. I mean, DeMarcus Walker was fiery on the defensive line, but it kind of reminded you of Timmy Jernigan, but he comes in a much bigger package.
Offensive line-wise, are we just looking at these 5 guys, Juwan Williams, Derek Kelly, Alec Eberle, Cole Minshew, and Landon Dickerson?
If Minshew's healthy, when he's been in and out of the lineup lately with his ankle, so Mike Arnold has been in there some. If Minshew can go, I think he'll be the guy, but he's had ankle and foot issues for a while. But that's one thing you see with this group is they are very much about sticking with that starting 5, and that's who practices every day together. Rick Trickett liked to mix and match and cross-train and do all of that stuff, but Greg Fry clearly wants that continuity, and as long as those guys are healthy, they should have plenty of continuity because they're together every day.
Did Babion Johnson improve as camp went along?
I think he's got 2 problems. I mean, 2 issues he's got to resolve. One is, and Greg Fry mentioned it last week, conditioning. He's not built necessarily. He wasn't built to be a guy that plays 80 or 90 snaps. I mean, he's more of a prototypical, probably pro-style offensive lineman. And then at center, he still has, issues sometimes with the snaps. So I think he's, right now he's still a good backup. I think he's a guy that can be real physical, is a blocker. But I think the conditioning is probably going to be the biggest issue. They're willing to sacrifice, I think, a little bit of the strength and talent. They're not going to sacrifice anything when it comes to conditioning with that tempo they want to run.
Gosh, I keep coming up with more questions. I'm sorry. DJ Matthews, his health.
Seems to be doing well. I don't know exactly what all he did in the scrimmage, but he seems to be getting a lot closer. And again, he's a guy. I guess that's what kind of gets you excited about the offense is there's a couple guys like him that you kind of forget about, and then you realize, man, if that guy's healthy, what does that do? Because he showed late last season that he's got a ton of potential.
What are you having for dinner?
I'm not sure, buddy. I haven't figured that out yet. I'll let you know, though, when I know.
Please do, and I may call you back and ask for some more questions later on, okay?
Sounds good, though.
Be well, brother. Ira Chaffel, warchant.com. What are you having for dinner?
Probably lentils tonight.
You really love the lentils.
They're good. Yeah.
They're okay. I mean, they're good for you.
I don't look forward to lentil night, but it's Monday. You got to get right. With the week and the lentils, they're good.
I like that you have lentil night.
Well, it's either lentils or like the green twisty pasta stuff, but it's mostly lentils, like 3 out of 4 of those weeks.
Those are your Mondays?
I mean, it's Monday. You don't want to use the best thing on a Monday.
Sometimes you need the best thing on a Monday to get you through,
What are you having for dinner?
I don't know. Probably salmon. I made salmon last night. I didn't eat all of it, and so I'll probably have a little bit of salmon leftovers. Not everybody's cup of tea, the salmon leftover, I tell you. But the way I did it with the pesto on top, it was good.
So you have to reheat the salmon for the leftovers, right?
Yeah, nobody else in my family will eat leftover salmon but me. So the kids will say, Mom, Dad's making salmon again. And then she'll go, okay, I got you. And she'll make them something different. But me, I'm in there worried about me, Tom.
What's your favorite night of the week to eat dinner? Is there you have a special meal on a certain day?
No.
Well, you guys just mix it up every day at the Cameron household.
We try. It's kind of a fly by the seat of your pants. I work at a time. The kids have been home for an hour and a half by the time I get home, or an hour. They've already started preparing their thing. I kind of have to fend for myself. Our schedule's weird.
You do get you do stop by some of our friends and our wonderful clients to get different versions of food quite often.
I will. I usually once or twice a week at least. Not as often as I used to, unfortunately. But
Northside Gordo's nice. Went there this weekend.
It's great.
This is not a canned read.
No, it's much nicer than the old Gordo's, and I like the old Gordo's, but the new one is incredible.
Yeah, they're gonna have that little garage window.
Forget about it.
Outdoor bar.
Open it up like that with the 3 TVs out there on the deck. It's not really a deck, but it's a nice outdoor place.
In about 3 months' time, that weather will be just nice enough.
3 months' time, Tom. You got to hold out hope that things are a lot better there. But anyhow, isn't that bar nice? The whole thing.
Free flowing, man. Open air.
I loved it. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Neese Tire and Auto Service. Neese has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the
at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway. Thank you to all of our listeners, and we'll see you there.
Fire the cannons.
Fire the cannons!
97.9 ESPN Radio is now Tallahassee's flagship station for Tampa Bay Buccaneers football.
Pass toward the end zone, fade route, caught ball, touchdown Tampa Bay, Mike Evans. Bucs lead 6-0.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers football on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you in part by Fire Betty's Arcade Bar, Bagel Market Bistro, and by AmeriGas Propane of Tallahassee.
Can I say Bucs win? We do.
I'm tired of reading headlines about corruption and crime in Tallahassee. When I saw Jeremy Matlow wanted to step up to serve our community, I knew he would fight to reduce crime, strengthen local business, and listen to everyone, not just City Hall insiders. I trust Jeremy Matlow. He's a proven business leader who won't waste our tax dollars. Jeremy has always done what's right for Tallahassee. I'm voting for Jeremy Matlow for City Commission.
Political advertisement paid for and approved by Jeremy Matlow, nonpartisan, for Tallahassee City Commission, C3.
Ugh, can you please turn on the AC? Welcome to Florida, honey. It's freaking hot. I think I know how it feels to be hot. I was born here. Hi, this is Sarah with Seminole Auto Glass. High temperatures can cause that chip in your windshield to crack and spread, impacting your car safety and visibility. With Florida Full Coverage Insurance, windshield replacement is free, so choose the local company you know and trust. Seminole Auto Glass, 850-539-4527 or at SeminoleAutoGlass.com, because no one takes care of your car like Seminole Auto Glass.
The Greater Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce, who's celebrating their 95th year in business this year, would like to recognize their newest members.
Hi, I'm Corey Melton, and on behalf of the Chamber, I'm proud to welcome these members for July. Anchor Recovery Foundation, Big Ben Continuum of Care, Bobby Dollar Appliance and TV, Capital Alliance Group, Covalent, Eck Realty, Fidelity Bank Mortgage, Florida Therapy Services, Golf Club at Summerbrook, Hamilton Realty Advisors, Lawton Childs High School, Merrill Lynch, Nelson Mullins Broad and Cassell, Privy Public Relations and Marketing, Rebecca Lutz Content Strategy, RJ Young Company, Ryback Realty, Sage Sure Insurance Managers, Sears Holding Corporation, Selfie Tally Photo Booth, Urban Tallahassee, Waldock and McConaughey, Wolfson Children's Hospital, Wood Lane Cabinet Company, Yolanda Speaks, and UFit Health Clubs.
Wahoo Seafood Grill, Tallahassee's leader in fresh seafood, is located right behind the Best Western on North Monroe. Lunch specials start at $7.99. Be sure to try their award-winning house-made burger. Big lunch parties are also welcome. Wahoo Seafood Grill makes lunch specials a very affordable choice. Delivery is available and plenty of parking. Wahoo Seafood Grill, easy access from any part of town using I-10. Visit them online at wahooseafoodgrill.com or call them today at 850-629-4059.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology actively invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you, the needle in the haystack.
Try ZipRecruiter now for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/find. That's ZipRecruiter.com/find.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
As we start the season, that's a little disturbing. I thought the conversation was by and large uplifting, not that it's required to be, but I feel good about most things. That said, I don't like hearing that there are several key players that we are looking upon to, or at least to start, that are going to be missing time and may not. The Kendo stuff doesn't. That's been disconcerting from the beginning. He hasn't been right or really able to give it much of a go at all, and that is problematic. That he's not going to play. They haven't announced that, but he's not going to play.
Right. That's a pleasant surprise if he does situation. That's the way I'm treating it, at least mentally preparing as a fan. If he's there, great. If he's not, well, we're going to have to make it work. Maybe Janarius can be, kind of a Swiss Army knife player to get more reps, almost as many as a starter if he rotates in and out to the field and boundary sides. The good news is that Marvin Wilson is there, and that allays my concerns about the interior of the defensive line. Yeah. But you're right. There's a lot of depth questions at a lot of different places. If Stanford Samuels is not available, that's a big shot to the depth. We have a lot of good defensive backs, but he was I said it before, an absolute drape out there in coverage when he was playing center field. Yeah, a really good football player and physical and set to take another big step forward. Now, here's the deal. You should be able to get by a game or so without him if that's what is needed. You're going to need him long term, and if he's not right, you can't play him here, and that's fine. He may very well play, but the next week it's Samford, and that should give you enough time to get him in there against Syracuse and be ready to go. Well, I think the thing to remember here, too, panic on Thursday or Friday if you really want to see your favorite player on Monday. But, Wednesday this week is actually the beginning of the game week for this team. Because of the Monday start, the clock starts 2 days later for the way that they do their stuff. So today could be a rest day for a lot of players. Maybe tomorrow would be too. But once you get into Monday and Tuesday of game week, practice 1 and 2 of game week, which will be Wednesday and Thursday of this week, I think that's the point where you start crystallizing whether or not we're going to have players available to us. Well, and let me announce this. On Wednesday, you will hear from Willie Taggart. You will hear him on the Jeff Cameron Show. I will interview Willie Taggart on Wednesday morning. I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait. 8 a.m. I'm going to talk to him. We'll run that afternoon. You'll also hear from Willie Taggart as he addresses the media on that day around lunchtime. But I'll have him early. And who knows, you may even hear some sound bites from that a little early as well. But I'm set to talk to him Wednesday morning, 8 a.m. We'll get a clearer picture, but I look forward to that interview. And, Willie's a guy that so far has been willing to answer almost anything within reason, and is a guy that welcomes those questions. I think he's excited. I think he's ready. I think he's probably, and I'm speculating here, somewhat tired of all of the pregame sort of pomp and circumstance. You have so much celebrating going on right now, the return of the students and traditions and everything else under the sun that we're excited about as Noles, but he's ready to coach a football game, go out and get a win, and kind of establish himself on the football field. There's been so much spoken of off the field, understandably, because he's hit so many home runs there. But he has time and again, when given the opportunity, has said, look, settle down. Without being condescending, he's kind of said, even at the
luncheon most recently. He said, everybody sit down. I got to win a game first. I got to get out here and play a game, coach a game, win a game first before we're doing standing ovations.
Well, and that was the interesting thing. I watched his remarks. I think it was about 7.5, 8 minutes of remarks at the luncheon, and so many of the talking points are the same as his opening press conference.
Very much the
last
same.
December, and I'm sure that has to get old. Yeah,
he's ready to get out there and see what because a coach. I remember asking Jimbo about this, and way back when, Coach Bowden. But I would tell you that a coach thinks he's got a pretty good handle on what his team is or is not. But they're always, to some degree, uncertain until you play a football game against an opposing team. You can only do so much in scrimmage. You can only evaluate against your own so frequently before it gets stale, and you're not real sure how they're going to respond when the games count. And it's live, penalties, all that stuff that comes into play, the pressure and adrenaline that gets going. And young men these are college-age kids. They're not pros. And so at certain positions, you're just never going to know till the lights come on. Some guys are great practice players and terrible in the game, and sometimes guys don't look all that hot in practice and really perform when the lights do come on. And you can't find that out until you play football games.
And speaking of scrimmages and practices, does it worry you or boo you to hear that the offense is starting to find its groove? Does that worry you about the defense, I guess would be the way to phrase that question?
No, because I was told that the defense had their fair share of moments on Saturday evening. That I tend to think that the coaches are going to do what they need to do in terms of how they call a practice, wanting certain groups to succeed, others to maybe perhaps suffer temporary setbacks. I think they're going to do that in order to embolden some players and engender confidence with position groups and those kinds of things. They're going to situationally practice, and so you don't always really know what to make of the successes and or failures of any unit. A defense could get lit up, and you could leave that practice or read that practice report and think, well, good Lord, man, we're giving up big plays. Well, it could have been designed for them to give up big plays on that afternoon. I mean, that does happen.
Going back to what Greg Fry said last week in his media availability.
Situational.
He said it's a controlled environment to teach the lessons you want to teach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's what that is. And you've seen it over the years. If there's a group really suffering from a lack of confidence or a lack of success, and perhaps they're worried about their confidence, they'll set it up that day for them to have success. They'll give them a shot of confidence and energy and belief through the way that they call plays and set up things. And again, that's why you can't really know until you get out there in a game, and they are obviously calling plays to offset what you're trying to do. And how do your kids react to that? And how do you react to that on the fly in the pressure of the moment?
So here's a fun exercise then. Next week, under the lights, Stoke Campbell, we're at the start of the second quarter. More concerned about offense being clunky, defense giving up too many big plays.
Defense giving up big plays. I actually think it's a defense that early on will do some things that will electrify. They're going to get after the quarterback when they have leverage. They're going to come after guys, and really, I think this is a group that's going to hit. I think they're going to swarm to the ball like Harlan Barnett has talked about. I think they're going to play with great passion. That, in turn, may result in forced turnovers and the like. But I think that there are some areas on the field, frankly, where they're not good enough right now, and linebacker may be one of them. And if you got to play small, you could see some plays given up there when in the run game. You could see, they get past that first line or they start attacking in that way downhill. You could see some guys struggle to stick their head in there and run fit. You give up big plays that way, so it'll be interesting. I have bigger question marks about whether or not they can consistently get stops. And I think as we get everybody healthy, we get back to where, and you can identify another couple of linebackers that you can trust.
I find it interesting, though, because we feel good about the ability to cover the perimeter level. Levante Taylor, obviously, is the guy that everybody will circle first and say,
yep,
here's your candidate to leave early. Just because he's so good at cover corner, he's not going to grow 3 inches between now and next year. So if the film is as good as people are hyping it up to be this year, well, he's going to go get paid. So now you got to worry about corner number 2. Stanford Samuels is out, but he was going to be playing closer to the line of scrimmage, I think, at times as well. I mean, if we can stop the run, I feel pretty good about our chances to not give up big plays and actually turn in a good number on
if we
defense.
Can stop the run, you're right. And that's my concern right now. It may not be it may be unfounded. Maybe they are able to stop the run consistently, and you're right. Once that happens, Katie bar the door.
It's a big once that happens, but yes.
Yeah, it's again, I'm ready for the damn game.
Well, Harlan wants to bring 7-8 at the line of scrimmage and say, all right, what you got?
Throw it.
Yeah, come on.
Game day excursions. Turnkey experience includes premium bus charter transportation to and from Chicago to South Bend. That's right. I'm talking about Florida State and Notre Dame. Noel fans, if you're going to do it upright, do it with Game Day Excursions. Go to GameDayExcursions.com. You will leave Saturday morning after a bottomless mimosa / Bloody Mary pregame experience at Chicago's Field Museum, no less, and return after the game that night. That's right. Once we arrive in South Bend, a fully prepared and stocked 4+ hour tailgate on Notre Dame's campus that includes a free game day meal, free beer, live entertainment, giveaways, and more. Woohoo! Game Day Excursions did the very same thing for the Georgia-Notre Dame game last year. That was a hell of a game. Just an aside, that was a hell of a game. GameDayExcursions.com. Secure your reservation. Use the code JCS at checkout. $10 discount off every ticket purchase. That's code JCS at checkout at GameDayExcursions.com. Be part of the takeover there.
The best part about that takeover is November. It takes place in November. Being in Minneapolis, Minnesota last year in September, I thought I was going to get a break from the weather.
You did not.
You do not get a break. But if you go in November to a place like South Bend,
be a little chilly.
You're going to need an extra layer rather than, you're going to be a sweaty mess like I'm sure Georgia fans were last year.
Sweatshirt. It's going to be nice. Don't have to get to break those out. I've got like 17 Florida State sweatshirts. They're all gorgeous.
You are built to live in the North.
I kind of am, but I don't want to because now I'm 47 and my blood's thinned out and I don't like -7. I'm not dealing well with 10 degrees. I can deal with 20 all day long.
You don't have the attitude of a 47-year-old.
No, I don't. No, and I probably never will be that, I don't think. That'll be a good thing. But I will tell you, a couple times in the last 2 years, I've gone to a place that was really cold, and when I did, I went, damn it, I don't like this as much as I used to. Like 6 days of this is about enough. Now, 20 and up, I'm good. You give me 20, 25, I'm not complaining at all. You get into the teens, I start going, okay, we're in the teens here 6 days in a row. That's a bit much.
Can't even go near the window. It's too cold by the window.
What are we doing here? Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Reporting he's getting a 5-year, $95 million max deal from the Giants, $65 million guaranteed. The new contract runs through the 2023 season. And credit Beckham for quietly going about his business this summer and getting rewarded, says ESPN's Louis Riddick.
He did exactly what he was supposed to do. He held up his end. Whether you think he was doing it just as a means to an end in order to get paid, that remains to be seen. But he conducted himself the right way. He diligently went about his rehab. He showed up. He was a guy who you didn't hear very much from in terms of making any kind of outlandish statements. He just went about his work.
A major injury for the Jags to deal with. Receiver Marquise Lee on IR will miss the entire season because of a knee injury suffered in Saturday's preseason game. The Patriots and starting right guard Shaq Mason agreed on a 5-year extension worth up to $50 million. It is one and done for the women's top seed at the U.S. Open. At tennis's final major of the year, Simona Halep lost in straight sets to Kaya Kanepi. Halep, the first number 1 seeded woman to lose in the first round of the Open in the professional era. Future Basketball Hall of Famer Manu Ginobili announcing his retirement after 16 seasons with the Spurs. College football, Alabama coach Nick Saban released his team's first official depth chart today, but neglected to say whether Jalen Hurts or Tua Tagovailoa will be the starting quarterback in Saturday's season opener against Louisville. Florida State named DeAndre Francois its starting quarterback against Virginia Tech. He missed most of last season with a torn patellar tendon in his left knee. Michigan State quarterback Nick Fitzgerald suspended Saturday against Stephen F. Austin for violating team rules in March. Keaton Thompson starts in his place.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. Summer's winding down, but it's still hot, and so are the deals at Kraft Nissan. Actually, we might have the best rebates and incentives we've ever had. Nissan has 0% interest for 60 months on every vehicle we sell, the entire lineup. Kraft Nissan has new 2018 Versa sedans with 5-speed transmission for only $11,990, and all 2018 Altimas, Rogues, Maximas, and Muranos are $5,000 off. Not one or some, but every new Altima, Rogue, Maxima, and Murano on the lot is $5,000 off. We have over 110 to choose from. And as always, all new Kraft Nissans come with our exclusive lifetime warranty. And introducing our new and exclusive Kraft Concierge Service. Need service, warranty work, or a recall? Kraft Nissan will pick up and deliver your car at your home or office. Need a loaner car? We'll bring it to you. It's Kraft Nissan's new no-charge concierge service. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. Prices include dealer preparation charge. Must finance through NMAC with approved credit.
Are you tired of getting the same 2-piece kits? Cornerstone Tool & Fastener and DeWalt have your answer. Buy a 1/4-inch 3-speed impact kit with 2 4-amp-hour batteries and receive a free 1/4-inch 3-speed impact kit. That's correct. You get 2 DeWalt 3-speed impact kits for the price of 1, only at Cornerstone Tool & Fastener. While you're there, check out the power of freedom. FlexVolt 60-volt tools from chainsaws to string trimmers, blowers, and even compressors. Cornerstone has the largest DeWalt selection in Tallahassee, 1110 Stuckey Ave and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open on Saturdays from 8 a.m. until noon.
Summer's winding down, and we know you want to enjoy what's left of it. But before you celebrate this Labor Day weekend, plan ahead and know all your options. If you drink, don't get behind the wheel. Instead, designate a sober driver or catch a ride service. And if you are the designated sober driver, commit to staying sober. Celebrate responsibly and remember to drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Next summer, the Tallahassee Tomahawks, a 12U youth baseball team, is taking a once-in-a-lifetime trip to the birthplace of baseball, Cooperstown, New York. As you can imagine, a trip like that is a huge financial undertaking for the families. So if you're a business owner and would like to help by sponsoring some of the top 12U players in the Big Bend, please reach out to them for more information and sponsorship details at tomahawks19@gmail.com. That's tomahawks19@gmail.com.
Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool & Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Mike writes, at Jay Cameron Show, what, you don't think Kiffin going to Norman is a good game? Nah, not really. I think I'll go home. We'll beat the bejesus out of them. More questions here as it is that time, right? Also, did Willie actually refer to eating at the Bama table? Somebody is saying that he did.
Really? I didn't hear that.
Man. I mean, I did invent that, so, good on you, Willie. Thanks for listening. At Jay Cameron Show, do you think Blackman takes a red shirt? Not sure what classification he plays, but Sam Howell looked like a 220-pound Johnny Manziel on Friday night. Yeah, we've talked about that this offseason. It is a good question, given that DeAndre Francois has now won the job. But I don't think he'll take a red shirt. I don't think that will be the plan. It may work out that way. Remember now the new red shirt rule is in place, and it's a rule that I absolutely love. And it will affect both strategy and players' ability to take a red shirt or not, but in a good way. You can play in 4 games, 4 full games if you want. I mean, hell, you can start 4 games. It wouldn't matter. And they don't matter when they're played. It could be the last 4 games. It could be the bowl game. Doesn't make any bit of difference. And you're still eligible to get a red shirt.
I think if you fall into it, you fall into it. But it's like saying, do you expect the offensive line to play all 12 games? Francois, I'm not talking about the knee injury, but if we're going to give up some shots to the quarterback, you may need James to come in for a series or 2. McGuire had to down in Miami 2 years ago. And there's one game right there if James has to come in a situation like that. Also supposing that DeAndre takes this job and runs with it the entire season.
Well, if you believe, and I do, that the competition was very close, you don't want the second-best quarterback, if that second-best quarterback was James Blackman, not to be available to you on games or days in which DeAndre doesn't have it. Now, I'm not saying you're just looking for reasons to pull a starter, but, part of the luxury of having so much experience on the depth chart is being able to turn to a guy who has played in 11 games and say, well, I mean, I'm not throwing the unknown out there. I know I got a guy that has played more than most. And so that's a luxury you want, and it's nice to know you have it going into each and every game. So, yeah, no, I don't think he will. If it happens, like you say it happens, maybe. It's interesting because Ryan's alluding to something that I've thought about at certain positions, and this is true anytime a new staff comes in and they begin to evaluate. You're going to recruit to your system. You're going to recruit to what it is you run, offensively and defensively. And so oftentimes a new staff is brought in and they have a different way of doing things, and yet they're saddled with players that ran an entirely different system and were recruited to that system. So attrition, you're going to want to work guys through the program. There are going to be guys you simply don't need to redshirt because you're going to be bringing in guys to take their job who are better suited and recruited to what you run.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that Blackman's in that situation, but I am saying that they're going to bring in guys that better run the system that Willie is implementing.
Yeah, 100%. He's only a sophomore as it stands right now. So, I mean, there's plenty of time left. If James develops, then he's going to have a lot more opportunities, spring and fall camps, to prove it. But I would say, as much as, I thought James Blackman was more suited to win the job because I thought he was a better leader, and I thought he did some things throwing the ball to the perimeter and down the field. This is before fall camp. That would see him come out on top. I didn't think the locker room would be ready to hand the keys back to Frenchie.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure I could trust DeAndre coming into the offseason either, so yeah.
So he's checked all those boxes enough that Willie, in his first, this is
it's a big decision.
If you get this wrong and you buy into a guy who's not, if DeAndre hadn't actually turned the corner, people would look at Willie today. The team would look at him last night when he told them and say, "Oh, this guy's fake." Then, so he'll just do anything for a player who gives him a best chance to win. And this leadership stuff he's talking about is fake. Willie would never do that. Why would you ever undercut what you're trying to build from a culture standpoint? So to me, this speaks volumes about how much he believes in DeAndre Francois. But I don't think this is the end of the debate. People have never seen backup quarterbacks before at major colleges and say we should start that guy over the guy we have on the field. And they have seen James Blackman, and he's had good moments. So I don't think the debate is over, and I don't think the indecision is over. There might be a week or two this season where you go, I wonder, is Willie going to actually turn the keys over to James Blackman this given week? We've had a rough patch here 2 or 3 weeks in a row. I don't think this marks the end of it. I think it gives you at least some pause. That means that DeAndre is going to start for at least Virginia Tech and Samford at the very, very least.
Oh, I can't imagine that he's not the starter by the time he would have to. I don't know. He'd have to be terrible before you'd make that move, right? I don't think you make a decision like this with the idea that you're going to be a quick to pull.
Well, all I'm saying, though, is let him have a bad quarter, like a really bad quarter.
Sure.
And those whispers, they begin again. This is it may not be just, Willie's he may not be participating in this as much as the fans, but I think this is going to be a dynamic process for the entire season.
Fans love a backup quarterback; they always do. I can see why that is, because when things are bogged down, it's very frustrating, and you don't know what else to do, and so you frequently say, "Well, how about the other guy?" That said, I know this. There's the real potential that DeAndre Francois is better in this offense than he was in Jimbo Fisher's offense, and so he's got to be elated.
I hope so. I'd like to go and qualify all of these statements and say I hope so, but the nature of the way these things go, especially at the quarterback position, is people want the backup. And so if DeAndre has a rough quarter, which I think he's going to, James
every quarterback does.
James would have a tough quarter, and people would be crying for 12 to come in the game. It's just the conversation's not over, but I think the right decision was made because Willie couldn't choose DeAndre Francois if he hadn't turned the corner in terms of how his teammates look at him.
Bigger question for me is not quarterback, but linebacker, and it will be because Emmett Rice doesn't look completely healthy. Josh Brown's not the answer. Adonis Thomas, not the answer. You've got basically Dontavius Jackson, and you're hoping like hell. I mean, when Amari Gaynor gets healthy, he'll emerge, but he's a true freshman who missed camp because of this injury. So, you're not going to use him. You're then talking about Takalen Brooks and Jaden Woodby. Both are freshmen. One's a redshirt, the other is a true freshman. Neither have played in a college football game, and that is not an ideal situation as you go into a season at linebacker. I get it, star, however you want to look at it. If you're looking at true linebackers, then, the Sam would be Adonis Thomas, and not good so far. The reports haven't been great. Josh Brown, same situation. I mean, you got a guy you've switched sides of the football with, Zakondre White, who might make an impact, I suppose. But, man.
Ermine Lane was a good safety, so I suppose it's possible.
It is possible. Certainly it's possible. But, that's not a good situation. Leonard Warner, I don't know where you're looking, but we don't have a bunch of proven linebackers that you can feel real good about. So, to me, yeah, sure, your quarterback goes, oftentimes is how you go. If you got poor quarterback play, you really can't win football games consistently. I got that. But I feel like you're more than adequate at quarterback. Whether it was going to be DeAndre Francois or James Blackman, you were going to be okay. Linebacker, on the other hand.
Well, and consider, too, that the way the offense is going to be run, the style of play, you're going to be on the field an awful lot. That's the other thing. Depth probably counts for more in this system, doesn't it?
Well, if you're
on
going
the
to
defensive side,
if you're going to go with early indicators as to what those bettors think about how this game will be played, the over has been pounded. So I think that people believe there'll be a lot of points, both for the fact that Florida State's running an offense in which that's possible. Virginia Tech has lost a ton of personnel on defense. Florida State isn't exactly loaded at key position on defense. And I think they probably believe, and there's experience at the other side, on the other side at quarterback. So I think they're probably looking at this as a little bit more higher scoring than people realize. That total is, last I checked, in the 50s, certainly.
Okay.
But I think people are looking. In years past, you wouldn't. In years past, you would have said, with the style of offense we ran, the style of offense Virginia Tech ran, the athletes on defense, you would have said pretty low scoring. Rock'em sock'em defensive battle maybe, but I don't think you're thinking that this upcoming Monday.
Longer discussion than this segment would allow for, but it's an interesting thing for Harlan Barnett. He's got to adjust himself as how to call games and how to manage a defense.
Think about that guy, right? Think about that guy calling a defense at Michigan State with the way that they play offense. You want to talk about an offense playing to your defense and back and forth. The opposite's true here, and he's got to find a way to deal with the idea that maybe giving up 21 to 24 points isn't the end of the world. It could be a great day at the office, in fact. Final hour forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Kevin Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Call 580-4029. This is for CAC 057652.
Bags to catch. Touchdown FSU!
The 2018 Seminoles football home opener versus Virginia Tech is approaching fast. Single game tickets are on sale now. Be there to witness the fastest offense we have seen in Garnet and Gold. And fittingly, be present to see Peter Warwick join FSU royalty as his jersey gets retired against the familiar foe. Tickets start at $65, and you can pick your exact seat on Seminoles.com. Get yours today. Do something and be there September 3rd in Doak Campbell Stadium.
Touchdown FSU! Touchdown Florida State!
Looking for a new place to watch your favorite sporting events? Hobbit American Grill with 3 locations to choose from. Just show them your stub. That's right, your ticket stub from any local sporting event for $1 pints and $3 crafts. BOGO Mondays every Monday with 50% off specials. Like or follow on Facebook to get all the details. PS4 tourneys, trivia, karaoke, darts, and more. Lots of daily lunch specials under $8. Happy hour specials daily and happy hour all day on Friday. The Hobbit American Grill.
Hey, I'm Jeff Doxey, Realtor for Capital Property Consultants, representing Premier Fine Homes. If you're thinking of owning your own brand new Premier home, call or text me at 850-545-4747 or email me, jeffdoxey1@gmail.com. You say where, I'll be there. Your Canopy Connection.
The Jeff Cameron Show, weekdays 3 to 6 on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Big store pricing with local service. Online at ctf.nu.
At Discover, we believe anniversaries should be a time of celebration, not obligation. That's why we think annual fees are ridiculous. And now, just for giving us a try, we're going to give new card members a 1-year anniversary gift they'll never forget. At the end of your first year, we'll match all the cash back you've earned dollar for dollar. No caps and no catches, because we know if you try us, you'll like us. And that's worth every penny. Try it and believe it at discover.com/match. Cashback match offer only for new card members. Limitations apply.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer.
Nice Tire and Auto, just minutes away from FSU campus.
Driving every day from the AmeriGas studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, Giants receiver Odell Beckham Jr. is now the highest paid receiver in the NFL. ESPN's Josina Anderson reporting he's getting a 5-year, $95 million max deal from the Giants, $65 million guaranteed. The new contract runs through the 2023 season. And credit Beckham for quietly going about his business this summer and getting rewarded, says ESPN's Louis Riddick.
He did exactly what he was supposed to do. He held up his end. Whether you think he was doing it just as a means to an end in order to get paid, that remains to be seen, but he conducted himself the right way. He diligently went about his rehab. He showed up. He was a guy who you didn't hear very much from in terms of making any kind of outlandish statements. He just went about his work.
A major injury for the Jags to deal with. Receiver Marquise Lee on IR will miss the entire season because of a knee injury suffered in Saturday's preseason game. The Patriots and starting right guard Shaq Mason agreed on a 5-year extension worth up to $50 million. It is one and done for the women's top seed at the U.S. Open. At tennis's final major of the year, Simona Halep lost in straight sets to Kaya Kanepi. Halep, the first number 1 seeded woman to lose in the first round of the Open in the professional era. Future Basketball Hall of Famer Manu Ginobili announcing his retirement after 16 seasons with the Spurs. College football, Alabama coach Nick Saban released his team's first official depth chart today, but neglected to say whether Jalen Hurts or Tua Tagovailoa will be the starting quarterback in Saturday's season opener against Louisville. Florida State named DeAndre Francois its starting quarterback against Virginia Tech. He missed most of last season with a torn patellar tendon in his left knee. Michigan State quarterback Nick Fitzgerald suspended Saturday against Stephen F. Austin for violating team rules in March. Keaton Thompson starts in his place.
Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Happy game week, everybody. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything. If you do miss something, remember, we'll post it, all 3 hours of it. In fact, upon the conclusion of the program, both to iTunes and in our own audio vault. You can always email the show if you like. It's JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. You can find me on Twitter at JCameronShow. The WTSM app is good for your mobile devices. DeAndre Francois announced today as Florida State's starting quarterback. That in and of itself is not that great a surprise. Should be known, though, that this was a very close quarterback battle and one that didn't see a lot of separation. Francois wins the job, better decision maker. Coach Taggart said as much. In fact, let's hear from head coach Willie Taggart from earlier today when he made the announcement that DeAndre Francois would start the game against Virginia Tech.
Just want to announce we decided our quarterback, DeAndre Francois, would be our quarterback starting against Virginia Tech, and had a very, very healthy competition going and was really good, and I thought all of our guys got better, and as a staff, we decided DeAndre was the best for us, and we're going to go that way.
Coach, why DeAndre?
I think when you watch the body of work, in the short amount of time he's been out there, and when he's in there and running the offense, it's a lot more efficient and a lot less mistakes, and I think that's important when playing the position.
When did you let him know that he won the job?
We let all the guys know yesterday.
And I guess, did he have a certain reaction? Was it a personal interaction, or was it just kind of a team thing that you told everybody?
No, we sat down with all three guys and kind of let them know where we stood with them all, and again, he was excited. I mean, it wasn't anything, but he was excited, and that was it.
When did you? Earlier in the spring, you were a little bit concerned about whether or not he was going to be able to, just how he's handling all his responsibilities on and off the field. Mm-hmm. When did you feel like, okay, I can trust this guy?
Well, I just watched his body of work. Since then he's been doing everything we asked him to do, and more, and just watching him with his teammates. And I think more than myself just trusting him, I think the entire football team trusts him, and I think that's important.
Was there a growth sort of thing you saw from him in the scrimmage Saturday, or was it just, like you said, body of the work that just kind of confirmed?
I think it's a body of work. It's consistency. In every scrimmage we've had, he's been really impressive in them, and same thing in practice. And they all have. It's been a good competition. It's one guy do something well, the next guy would do the same thing. So that made it challenging. But I think when you look at the overall body of work, and when they're in there running the offense, we feel like DeAndre gave us the best shot.
Yeah, that quote, he's been doing everything we've asked him to do and more. Watching him with his teammates, more than myself just trusting him, I think the entire football team trusts DeAndre. I think that's important. That was a quote from Willie Taggart in talking about what DeAndre Francois had been able to accomplish with the off-the-field stuff. And I believe that was as important as what happened on the field in camp. His ability to, perform obviously the offense in a way that was better than the other two combatants in that quarterback race surely is a huge factor. But I think that beyond that, this was really about whether or not he could successfully make the transformation from immature and selfish to a leader and somebody that could be trusted in that locker room. And I think had that not happened, the quarterback battle was close enough that he would have just gone with James Blackman because it's such an important decision. So to me, this was much more about what he did off the field than on it. And that might strike you as odd. You might say, well, no, I need my quarterback to be able to play on the field. I'm not saying he wasn't the better player on the field. I'm just saying that there wasn't a vast difference between what he did and James Blackman did or even Bailey Hawkman did in this quarterback battle. It's that he has the experience. He is slightly better than the other two or has been in camp, and he does offer up the ability to run the football better and I think with a little bit more ease in terms of the way it comes to him in the run game than the other two. But it was about winning those players back in the locker room and becoming trustworthy.
Okay, fair to say then it's marginal, the gap between he and James Blackman.
Yeah, I think Blackman does some things better than Francois. Francois does some better things than than Blackman, and so yeah.
And so if he didn't have the trust of his teammates, you might go the other way. He may not be that much better than James Blackman. That trust be damned. We're going to play him.
No,
here.
Right? It would have no. I don't think you can do that as your first major decision of a head coach trying to win over the locker room and show some level of consistency with what you preach. I mean, I think you have to be able to stand up and stand by the things that you told them at the beginning. It was a meritocracy, and it was an open fight and contest, and may the best man win the job. But he also talked really around every turn about the things that he expects out of a quarterback, and they didn't just involve the stuff on the field.
Agreed. And we just got done talking about that to finish the last hour, which is Willie couldn't have gone down that path. That he can't go down a mercenary's path when he's trying to build a family.
Right.
That's like, let's just undercut everything I've done for the last 8+ months here and trying to build the spirits and morale and family nature of this team back together. But if DeAndre was somewhere in between, like you're like, I could take or leave that guy, and then the margin was thin between what he was doing and what James was doing, I wonder if the on-the-field stuff would have been enough. But by all accounts, it seems as though it's been a 180 for DeAndre Francois in terms of the belief in the locker room, the players around him, whether or not they buy into him and he's honestly trying to be a leader. And, I mean, we saw that. Even the breakout media stuff that DeAndre's done. He's less standoffish. He's trying to give you the answer that maybe instead of the honest one, he's trying to give you the answer he thinks is best for the team.
Yeah.
He's trying to be a citizen, I guess is the point.
Well, I mean, I think the part that really left most of us in doubt about whether or not he could ever come back and start, I guess the first thing you would have said is whether or not he could get back to be totally healthy, and he has. So that's the real good news. I mean, you never want to see a kid lose a job due to injury. So he's come back and gotten healthy, and that's the first thing. But when you isolate yourself and you remove yourself from team activities and you're the damn starting quarterback, or you were the starting quarterback, and you have to be an unquestioned leader at the position, you're not a right guard, not to take a shot at a right guard, but the team ain't following a right guard into battle. They're following your quarterback. If you're not there on senior day and you're mad at the world and you like certain tweets and certain other things that don't show overwhelming support for the guy that's in there starting, you lose people pretty quick. I mean, imagine being at a workplace where that was the kind of snide comments and behavior you received from your coworker. You wouldn't feel real inclined to buddy up to that person and to trust that person moving forward as a group, as in an office. And that's it's just the same with football. I mean, only you're talking about you're sacrificing your body, and you got to know that the other people around you are willing to do what you're willing to do for this thing to go. And you got to care. You got to care deeply about everybody. Now, you don't have to be their best friend, but you got to care, and you got to give effort, and you got to show support, and you've got to be a good teammate. And he wasn't being that. So to me, I think it's exciting to know that the kid grew up a lot. He had to have. I think that maybe in the beginning, he probably wondered whether or not this was going to be the place for him. I'm quite certain he had to have pondered the thought of transferring. I don't want to put words in his mouth. He's never said that publicly that I'm aware of. but I'm speculating that had to have gone through his mind. He felt betrayed by the previous coaching staff, that we know. He was devastated when he got hurt and couldn't participate. He has said as much. So you couple the loss and disinterest of a coaching staff who then takes it on down the road. I'm not saying all those coaches, but certainly the head man, who was his position coach, did. And the injury and the frustrations born from that. Who knows what it took to win him back over and to get him to understand the importance of taking on the responsibility that comes with being the quarterback at Florida State. But somewhere along the way, that connection was made by Coach Taggart and his staff, and the light bulb went off for DeAndre Francois, and I give him a lot of credit for that because I wasn't certain, and certainly I wouldn't have guessed that it was going to work out, but it did. He did the things you needed to do. He moved back on campus. He has shown more camaraderie with his teammates. He has shown a support that wasn't revealed previous. He has been more emotional in a good way. He's putting his arms around guys and celebrating their successes. That's important. So obviously these were the boxes that were checked in addition to playing well in practice, and good for him.
Maybe turnovers isn't the same thing between DeAndre and James Blackman. I think that Willie is right, at least from what we've seen on film. DeAndre isn't as apt to turn the ball over as James Blackman may be, especially when they're throwing the ball down the field. But they're both almost as likely as the other to miss open receivers.
Yeah, they've got some faults to their game, yeah.
So I think it's fair to classify probably both of those guys, from what we know now, as streaky quarterbacks. But do you expect the offense to be streaky? Or
yes.
Yeah.
I do.
I kind of get that sense, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Well, when you run up tempo and you're trying to snap the ball every 6 to 7 seconds, you miss that first throw and get behind the chains. We've seen these things get bogged down for stretches at a time, and then they just as easily turn it back around and they get you back on your heels. But I think that kind of comes with that kind of offense. You're not always going to be as efficient as you'd like to be, but you are going to have a lot of shots at it. There are going to be a lot of snaps. Now, again, I don't know that we're trying to achieve the 90-plus play plateau there, but I do think we're going to run a lot of plays. I think he's being coy to some degree and saying, we're not like certain other offenses. You say, I think he wants to run a lot of plays.
I think so, too, and it's just so fundamentally different, everything we're going to be watching, and then the evaluation of success and failure. You just touched on it last hour at the end about defense. 21 points a game might be something you just hang your hat on and say, well done, defensive coordinator. That's all we could ask for. 17 to 21 points yielded a game. Sometimes in certain situations, 27 might not be a bad number if you're in a shootout. But on offense, to evaluate what DeAndre is, there's a couple of things, and one of them is the mesh point. That's everything in this offense. If you're going to be handing it off at the middle.
Making good decisions, yeah.
Making good decisions.
When to give, when to keep.
And how's your footwork? Mm-hmm. And then coming out of your footwork, are you a solid base to get a throw out to the outside? And then there's the fourth down question, too. You're talking about micromanaging, now the macro. We're talking about you want to snap the ball every 5 or 6 seconds. All right, well, now it's 4th and 1.
Let's go.
And you just ran it up the middle. Are we getting right back up to the line? Are we running a play? Are we thinking about it? Where are we on the field? Are we between the 40s?
Well, I can assure you the days of punting from the 38 on 4th and 2 are probably over.
It's just going to be a completely different experience, and perhaps that's redundant given the differences in Jimbo Fisher and Willie Taggart's history. But now that we're a week away, I actually can start to feel the difference about getting ready to watch this offense. You have to be focused, man, because they're going to get up to the line, and you got to see what everybody's up to. If you're trying to see if the left guard is doing what he's supposed to do or the tight end, you better be locked in when we're on offense. There's a lot of plays coming your way.
Yeah, going to keep a notebook and watch these games 2 and 3 times. I announced it in the first hour. I'll announce it here. I've got Willie Taggart to be interviewed 8 a.m. Wednesday morning. I will talk with him. We will play that interview for you later in the day. Now, Willie is also going to meet with the media one last time before the first game, and it will be Wednesday afternoon. But I will have the interview with him from the morning that we will be able to run. I look forward to doing that too. I'm excited for Willie because he's been such a good guy and an open guy and somebody that's invited the press in to meet his staff and get to know his people and to get to know him and to ask question after question after question, and he's answered where he could and been very honest. That's been a fun off season for us. It's been something that differs greatly. And I'm not saying that he's going to continue to be such an open book at all times as we get the season started. He's already starting to lock it down a little bit, and to some degree that's perfectly normal. But he's a guy that's not afraid of the media and isn't afraid to answer questions, and that's a good thing for all of us because it allows us to cover the team more in-depthly and give you more insight as to what's going on over there.
I think the hard part is, you have so much information now that you don't know what to do with it all. We've been talking behind the scenes, and our week, the breakout of the week, is a little bit different just in terms of responsibilities because there's more data to crunch, there's more sound bites, so it could be you're on the beat and you have to write that many more stories, or you have to post that many more videos on award channels 24/7, or you're here and you got to rip more audio. But the question is, unlike Jimbo, where you're starving for information and you're trying to look at a facial expression of Jimbo's on a Tuesday versus the facial expression on a Thursday.
What are you revealing to me, sir? Because you're certainly not going to tell me in words.
Now you're getting so much information that it's like, all right, I have that combined with we had open practices for when they were in shorts. I'm sure they're a hell of a lot better than they were when they were in shorts. The offense certainly is. Who the hell is this team? Like with Jimbo, you could at least look at Fan Day's practice and then listen to his statements, and you had a pretty good idea of what was going to translate. Like, for example, Auden Tate last year. You could see that coming a mile away, that Auden Tate was going to be the most polished receiver on that team. Keith Gavin was the most gifted. Auden Tate was the most polished. This year, it's, all right, you got some open sessions, some open periods, but the way the offense is run is different. You got the coordinators telling you different versions of the same truth that the head coach is telling you, and the position coaches are giving you an idea. Who's the indicator? Who's telling you what's right? And then we can only wait until games 2 and 3 and 4 before we get a sense of what sticks and what's worth ignoring.
Man, I am so pumped every time we talk football now, and the realization, and by the way, how great was that over the weekend? Just, I know, it's Hawaii and Colorado State, and I know that it was Wyoming in Las Cruces taking care of New Mexico State, but and dominating, by the way. It really looked like a fine program.
Oh, it was over at halftime.
It was definitely an ass beat all the way through. Way to go, Cowboys. But I thoroughly enjoyed sitting back and watching that and seeing kickoff and noting that it had returned. It had. And, even fringe as it is, I watched, frankly, I watched all of Hawaii and Colorado State, and I watched a good bit of Wyoming trouncing New Mexico State.
Buddy, you're good on Saturdays and Sundays until the middle part of January. And including—
think about the celebration that is the fact that that's it. Your weekends, men and die-hard football fans everywhere, women alike, of course. The searching for, no, it's gone. There's a game on. There's always a damn game on.
If you like college and pro, given that LSU and Miami are playing on Sunday, every Sunday from here till February is taken. Football is there.
Speaking of which, if that's your cup of tea, LSU will start Joe Burrow at quarterback in the season opener against Miami. That, according to the school today, Burrow, who spent 3 years at Ohio State before leaving as a graduate transfer this year, goes to LSU. There you go.
Given that everything that was happening here and we're starting to get things tightened up for our season and planning, I forgot to tell you. So I read an article down, the Miami Herald's article about Hurricanes camp. And they did say they expected Burrow. They were openly saying we expect Burrow to be the starting quarterback for LSU. You can only choose between two at this point for LSU. But also that the backup quarterback battle is just, it's neck and neck, Jeff. They're not challenging the number one position right now, but N'Kosi Perry and young Weldon.
Casey Weldon's son.
Yeah, Casey Weldon's kid. They're battling for that number 2 spot. So they're not coming for this spot yet, number 1 on the depth chart.
I'm really happy to hear that Malik Rozier is holding it down.
But Malik Rozier, apparently, he's just a steady Eddie starter.
I hope they continue to stick by their man. There you go.
It's just, hey, when you have a guy like that, we're playing for second, not playing for first.
I was going through other games already doing this. I got to stop this. I got to get back focused on this. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Blountstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
City Commission, C3.
Hi, I'm Jesse Ross, owner and co-founder of Lake Tribe Brewing right here in Tallahassee. When my father, my two brothers, and I started Lake Tribe, we had one simple goal: to create great tasting quality craft beer that reflects our love for the great outdoors and have some fun along the way. If you're in town with 80,000 of your like-minded friends, stop by the brewery off West Tharp Street for a pint or a flight of our vast selection of Lake Tribe beer on tap, or stop by at the next gathering of the Garnet and Gold. We're open Thursdays and Fridays 4 to 9 and Saturdays from 1 to 9. Lake Tribe Brewing, find your native spirit.
When you have a lot on your to-do list, the last thing you need to worry about is a car repair. Luckily, when you visit any of 16,000 Napa Auto Care centers, you get highly trained experts and a 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty, which means your car gets fixed right the first time, so you can spend less time worrying about the things you don't want to, like repairing your vehicle, and more time worrying about the things you do. Just visit NapaAutoCare.com to find the location nearest you.
You know what? It's time you level up your lemon lime with clear, refreshing Mountain Dew Ice. We get it. You're used to a certain kind of lemon lime experience. But why settle for this when you could have this? You want a fist bump that ends in one of those fake explosions?
Hey, Charles.
Or a fist bump that ends in an actual explosion?
Hey, Charles.
Want to pull up to the party on this? Or arrive in this? Take this last second shot? Or make the last second shot? Make this musical request? Or this one? So yeah, you can keep drinking the same old, but we think you'll like the exploding fist bump, last second shot, showing up to the party properly way to lemon lime, right? Mountain Dew Ice. Clear, refreshing lemon lime, redefined.
Son of a biscuit.
What was that?
Something broke my windshield. Look at it. Now I've got to call my insurance.
No. Just contact Seminole Auto Glass. They'll take care of everything for you.
This is Sarah with Seminole Auto Glass. With Florida full coverage insurance, windshield replacement is free, and it's your choice. So choose the local company you know and trust. Seminole Auto Glass. 850-539-4527 or at SeminoleAutoGlass.com. Wow, they're coming to my work tomorrow. That was easy, thanks to Seminole Glass.
Great. Now can we go get some biscuits? I'm hungry.
Just how good does a Sport Clips Championship haircut experience make you feel? Like your hair has its own walk-up music. No matter what kind of guy you are. Maybe you play sports. Maybe you play sports online. Or maybe your sport is keeping up with your kids. You want hair so good it deserves its own walk-up music. And at Sport Clips, we make it easy. Just check in online, choose your stylist, and head to Sport Clips. You'll get a game-changing cut from a stylist trained for guys. Go big with the MVP experience and get recharged with a massaging shampoo and their legendary hot steamed towel. They'll always finish strong by styling your hair just right, tightening up that beard, and getting you on your way. Hair this good needs no introduction, but you'll want one anyway. Appointment-free championship haircuts for men and boys surrounded by what you know and love, sports. So get in line online today at sportclips.com/check-in and get your hair in the game.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Cameron Show. Little vision check, Tom. Let's make it happen. Jose Fernandez is begging us to make it happen.
Could it be about the quarterback still?
No, I'm not going to make it about the quarterbacks, but I will touch on something that is worthy of a vision check. So let's do it.
Open your eyes.
My glasses! I can't see without my glasses!
My glasses. I can't be seen without my glasses.
That is absolutely horrendous.
I don't believe this call is accurate.
Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen.
Man, I can see.
Black vision.
It's time for the vision check.
As brought to you by the law office of Jose Fernandez. They don't get paid until you do. The law office of Jose Fernandez. Offices Miami, Tallahassee. Well, let's go back through it, shall we? Football did start over the weekend. And as I told David Hale when I did College Sports Saturday from 9 to noon on ESPNU, Sirius XM Channel 84 on Saturday, football doesn't truly start, everybody knows this, until the big UMass-Duquesne matchup gets underway, and it did get underway. He noted that he thought John Heisman once said that football doesn't begin until toe meets leather and Duquesne's involved, and I agreed with him.
No wonder Jose was begging for the vision check.
UMass 63, Duquesne 15 was the final in that game, if you didn't know. And then my man Rice and Prairie View, right? You recall that we gave you the preview?
Bloomgren, right?
That's right. Coach Mike Bloomgren in his debut gets it done. They have to hold on for dear life after they were struggling to maintain a 16-0 lead. Prairie View came all the way back, and before you knew it, we had a wild one. Rice 31, Prairie View 28.
Woo!
What a game.
16-0 lead, you don't say.
Yeah. Turned out to be a 31-28 victory in the debut for Tallahassee's own Mike Bloomgren. Hawaii 43, Colorado State 34. It was a truly inspired effort from the folks at Hawaii. The defense, though, in the second half did try to give it up. A little scary, wasn't it? KJ Carter-Samuels cranked out 537 yards and 5 touchdowns for Colorado State. That will hurt your feelings. My goodness gracious.
It's not as bad as 500 yards rushing, but, it's not good.
No, that's pretty scary. Obviously, you saw the Wyoming-New Mexico State result as we go back through and get you caught up on who did what. Wyoming played defense. Wyoming ran the football. They threw off a play action, and they pretty well dominated this game 29-7. They're in Las Cruces, Tom, over New Mexico State. And how awesome was that Wyoming, or were those Wyoming uniforms? Did you catch them?
Were they the brown ones, Jeff?
They were the yellow pants, white shirt, brown numbers highlighted by yellow. These are some bad. I'm going to hold this up.
Okay, you caught me. I didn't watch the big Wyoming football game.
You should have watched it.
Oh,
look at those badass. Look at that.
Yeah.
And look at those uniforms. That's a Wyoming shirt we could all wear.
Man, looks like they should be wearing those with some shag carpets. That's like straight out of the 70s.
They're beautiful, and that helmet is something spectacular as well. Way to go, Cowboys.
They should have collars underneath it, like the old puffy collars.
Yeah. I like it. So that's what you had, 29-7 there. And I thought, and by the way, at one point, I think it may have concluded this way because they have a ridiculous way of keeping statistics in college. But I believe New Mexico State finished with -9 yards rushing in this game.
Okay. Well, that would be quarterback sacks, too. That's what you're talking about.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Dude,
I don't
I'm like, man.
Yeah, I don't like the way they do that.
That's right.
And so, anyhow, one thing I will say is that I cared more about those games. I don't know if you did, but I cared more about those games than I did the NFL's preseason games. And this is really what the battle was about, right? Whether or not you were watching Week 3 preseason football, which matters greatly. I don't disagree because that's when the starters stay in the longest. Or were you watching – this will show you where your allegiances are early on. Were you watching Hawaii and Colorado State and or Wyoming's domination of New Mexico State?
I watched more of Buccaneers-Lions than I did any other game this weekend, college or pro. And that game didn't kick off till 9 p.m. on Friday night.
I just thought you should know that those were some great opportunities to catch Wyoming's –
But I am pumped for Duke Army on Friday night at 7 p.m.
You never know with you, buddy.
I'm unpredictable?
Well, just like we'll be tuned into a lot of nondescript BC games that we like as well.
Yeah.
Like, all right, big one. New Hampshire rolls into town this weekend. They really control the clock.
I only want the best, man. And that's the best right there, Duke and Army.
It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. EasyLaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's EasyLaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock.
This Day in Sports brought to you by Superlube. Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary.
This day in sports history. August 27th, 1982. Oakland Athletics outfielder Ricky Henderson stole his 119th base of the year, breaking Hall of Famer Lou Brock's 1979 record for stolen bases in a season. In classic Henderson fashion, he stole the base on a pitch-out against the Milwaukee Brewers. He stole 3 more bases that day and ended the year with 130.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Roofing is rewarding, but it's not exactly a bed of roses. It's a very dirty job, subject to the environment, working on 98-degree summer days, dodging rainstorms, working on steep slopes like a mountain goat. At Parker Brothers, our skilled workers have chosen this challenging trade as their career choice. These are the people that you want working on your roof. We've been servicing the community since 1995. Call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
CGC 042221. CCC 049350.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. It's Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
The vast majority of us push through aches and pains that tend to get worse as months and years go by, but it doesn't have to be this way. I'm Dr. Rob, and at Health Source Chiropractic of Tallahassee, we use evidence-based, proven methods to get to the cause of your aches and pains before they become real problems that force you to miss out on important things in your life, like playing with your kids or grandkids, throwing a frisbee at the park, swinging a golf club, or simply enjoying the game on those hard benches at the ball field. Call Health Source Chiropractic today at 877-8980.
Looking for a new place to watch your favorite sporting event? Hobbit American Grill with 3 locations to choose from. Just show them your stub. That's right, your ticket stub from any local sporting event for $1 pints and $3 crafts. BOGO Mondays every Monday with 50% off specials. Like or follow on Facebook to get all the details. PS4 tourneys, trivia, karaoke, darts, and more. Lots of daily lunch specials under $8. Happy hour specials daily and happy hour all day on Friday. The Hobbit American Grill.
Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
So I mentioned that Joe Burrow going to start at LSU in the game against Miami. Did you see the I'm telling you what, I am kind of surprised by this. I would not have guessed. Well, it shouldn't make it so profound. It wasn't over the top crazy. But for as much as we've heard so much about Trevor Lawrence, and he did look so good in the spring game, for Kelly Bryant to hold him off, bring it back relevant here to the ACC, okay, for now is what I'm going to say about that. For now. Because this is something that I had a conversation with Dabo Swinney about, if you recall. Remember, he made a terrible mistake and cost him the game here in Tallahassee, going back to when Deshaun was more than ready as a freshman to step in there and play. Had already illustrated very quickly in his time there that he could start over a Cole Stout 63-yard drive against Georgia, and the one drive he was allowed to play, and then they yank him and they go on to lose that game. But I thought, was interesting in the way that he talked about that decision at the time that I asked him about it. This time around, he had this to say: look, Lawrence was very good in spring, but that Bryant's confidence is night and day from where he was this time last year. His confidence is tremendously higher. The game is just so much slower for him. As a result, he's playing faster. He's processing things faster. He's been very consistent with his decision-making. He's throwing the ball very well down the field. And I know why he said that. Because that's the thing that the fan base saw in Lawrence, was a young man's ability to straight up spin it. An early enrollee, top-rated quarterback in ESPN's 300 class of 2018, and he's scary good. I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned moving forward that they have their position of quarterback completely set.
You know, I will never admit to, because I didn't do this intentionally, watching an All-American game, for a player. But when I was flipping around when he played in the Army All-American game, if memory serves, and he was in a quarterback, I decided, all right, let's see what Clemson's got. So I watched a drive. Yeah, I mean, the ball does just come out of his hand with a little bit extra zip to it, and it looks like it's perfectly placed at all times. He's just rail thin. That's what I saw when he was still in high school. Now I don't know
without
if he's
question.
still, you know, like James Blackman kind of thin anymore, but man, he has the old sunshine hair too. At the time, I thought, okay. Now the question is, will he fit into the Clemson system as well as, a quarterback can? Deshaun had his legs to fall back on, and he needed to for them to make it all the way, for them to win the title. He had to be both a passer and a runner. I just don't know if Clemson can win with that type of quarterback. So maybe I'll just throw a little doubt out there.
Throw that out there. Lob the doubt bomb in there. I don't think so, man. I think he's going to sit in there and throw the football really well, and I think he's going to be the starter possibly before the end of the season, although they don't need him to win football games. So it is fair to say, Jeff, that's simply not true, because they're loaded on defense and they're going to win their games that way. I don't necessarily disagree. I just think the kid's that talented.
Well, the halves of the season, it makes sense if you were going to be a conspiracy theorist about Bryant and Lawrence. Obviously, it's Furman in week 1, so that's nothing. Did you realize, I saw this in David Hale's article, that Furman's quarterback is actually a Clemson student as well? There's like a wrinkle where you can dual enroll. Yeah. Either way he wins was the line, which I thought was kind of funny.
Furman's in Greenville, South Carolina, so there it is. Yeah.
Right, which is, the Liberty Tavern. That place is cool.
We had a good time there.
But it's Furman, Texas A&M.
Friend of mine teaches there, by the way.
Oh, really?
That's correct, yes.
Texas A&M, circle that game just because it's on the road, Kyle Field. Georgia Southern, Georgia Tech, Syracuse, and Wake. I mean, that's the first half of your season. So then you get into the second half. You have a big home game against NC State. Perhaps that's the one where you might make the switch. Then you go on the road to play FSU, host Louisville, on the road to Boston College, then Duke and South Carolina. So the front half of this schedule, if you need somebody like a Kelly Bryant, it's perfect for him because he's your starter week 2 on the road, hostile environment, and then maybe you can work
then
Lawrence
you
up to it.
slowly work him into it. Yeah, it does make sense. Today was a day where a lot of quarterback battles were revealed. That was kind of the whole thing, but it is an interesting situation, one of the more high-profile positions, which has made college football so interesting this offseason and why we're so excited it's back. Beyond our game, obviously, against Virginia Tech on Monday night, with the moving of so many coaches, I've talked about it incessantly, the 6 new coaches in the SEC, or at least, if not new, guys that moved around a little bit. And really, I think it was 22 different coaches in college football, 13 of note, real significance, including at UCLA with Chip Kelly, obviously, but Nebraska and Scott Frost. And one thing I have discovered, and it's helped, admittedly, and I try to bring this back to the table here. When I'm doing that show on Saturdays, we have to book guests all around the country, and you're usually able to then bring on experts who cover, say, Nebraska or cover UCLA or cover whatever team it is you're talking about, and you start to glean some insight as to what the expectations are regionally. Well, obviously, with Scott Frost going to Nebraska, the thought is, well, gosh, look how quickly he got UCF to go undefeated and have the season that they did after they were absolutely a disaster 2 years prior. So they all believe almost right away he's going to change things there. But they got a problem at quarterback, and today it got worse. They have one scholarship quarterback available. Tristan Gebbia skipped practice on Monday and then decided to withdraw from the university today. Like, we're playing football this weekend, guy. Really? My man said, I'm out. He was a redshirt freshman from California, and he lost in the offseason battle for the starting job with Adrian Martinez over the weekend and said, yeah, I'm not going to stick around. I really thought I should win that battle. And he left. And Scott Frost was asked about it, and you know what he said? Well, we want guys who want to be here. So he had no time for him. They have one scholarship quarterback.
Well, it's not like he was expected to win his division this year anyway. People were going to give him a pass no matter what the record was.
Yeah, I would think so. They went 4-8 a year ago. But, I mean, goodness gracious, that's a toughie.
Don't worry. We can just transfer money from your account into a portfolio with your son, and it's gone.
Here's the thing. The reason I brought it up was, while we may not have the high-end guy, the guy that you think of as a potential Heisman candidate and could be a superstar, we don't have that situation. We got 2 guys that have played a full season, both varying degrees of very well at points in the season. So just to kind of compare and contrast places with expectations, I mean, LSU, same situation, not a dissimilar situation where they have problems at quarterback.
Right, for us, you just need to walk through the room hunched over because the ceiling is low, but the floor is high.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Opportunities available and the type of fishing the customer requests. The Northwest Gulf Coast offers a variety of different angling adventures thanks to unspoiled back county islands and crystal clear flats. For more information regarding charters, call Seaquarters Marina at 697-8400 or online at seaquartersmarina.com.
You started a DIY project at home,
Then you realize convenience isn't always easy. The Y in DIY doesn't mean, why is this so hard? At ADT, we DIFY, do it for you. We customize and install a secure smart home that you control from the palm of your hand or the sound of your voice. Smart security, designed and installed just for you with ADT. Visit ADT.com/smart to learn more. License information available at ADT.com. ADT, real protection.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer.
Nice Tire and Auto, just minutes away from FSU campus.
Wow, E+ is great.
E+? Is that like A+?
It's better. The E stands for energy, but it should stand for easy.
Easy Plus?
Yep, easy ways to save energy, water, and money through the City of Tallahassee utilities. Easy ways to monitor our account, easy ways to pay our bill online, check our balance, compare usage history, and so much more.
And I see the City of Tallahassee Utilities has a smart bill, which sends our bill directly to our email inbox for easy payment online, too. What a time saver.
And when we download the City of Tallahassee's digital app, we can do everything on our phones, even report service issues like a power outage or blocked road.
Plus, when we go to talgov.com, we can get more information on other great City of Tallahassee utilities, like the Energy Star rebates and insulation grants. Wow, the E really should stand for easy.
Yep, E+ from the City of Tallahassee Utilities. It helps customers save energy, water, and money.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he lost it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left!
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
With a loaded squad of experienced vets and young superstars, the Atlanta Braves are the team to watch in the National League.
3-0 is hit high in the air, deep right center field. Pham going back to the track, to the wall. She's gone for Ronald Acuna.
Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you in part by AmeriGas Propane of Tallahassee, Fonville, Lewis, Messer, and McConaughey, and by Metro Deli in downtown Tallahassee. The Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Big store pricing with local service. Online at ctf.nu.
Another reminder before we sign off for the evening that you need to get signed up at GameDayExcursions.com if you're going to the Notre Dame game like we are on the Jeff Cameron Show. GameDayExcursions.com. Go there, find out what I'm talking about. Good times. Block of rooms set up at the W Hotel Lakeshore, downtown Chicago. $189 a night is the way it's set up for Noel fans exclusively. The Friday night party at Hopsmith Tavern. That's going to be hosted by our friends at warchant.com. We'll be there to that, too. If you sign up right now, use the promo code JCS at checkout for a $10 discount off every ticket purchase. That's a good thing. Definitely want to do that. And it's the 25th anniversary of the game of the century. Not one that we won, but it didn't matter, because Notre Dame would go on to choke against Boston College and give us an out.
Hey, man, if you told me that we were going to lose the 25th anniversary but yet still win the national title just like we did a quarter century ago, I'd take it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I don't want to lose the game, though. I want to go ahead and go win that game. We're going to that game. I'd like to win that game. It's going to be fun. GameDayExcursions.com. Use the promo code JCS. All right. I don't know, man. With football starting the way it did over the weekend and my team now sub 500, I got to confess the interest in baseball is beginning to wane. It will kick back in when baseball's postseason starts. It's still there. I mean, I love the sport. I'm not washing my hands of it. But when I was watching the Hawaii upset of Colorado State and I was watching the dominant performance of Wyoming, and I found myself actually interested and engaged well into the evening in a lopsided affair for football, I realized that I was starved, and I'm ready to turn my attention to it wholeheartedly because the Pirates, like I said, are sub 500. Braves are having a great year, which is good for us. Certainly we carry the team. And by the way, I mean, I understand on a nightly basis you're locked in if you're a Braves fan, as you should be. But my team is no longer present in the race.
What do you think of the new graphics for college football? Like the lower bottom right graphic, the bug, the way it is? Takes some getting used to. Well, sometimes you like it and you go, ooh, that is clean. Like when Fox cleaned it up from all the,
I don't know why they constantly adjust things that work, though. I thought last year's was fine.
Yeah, I did too.
I wouldn't have messed with it. I was okay with it. We'll see. I give things time. I'll get to where I'm looking at things more critically as we go along. I was just so damn giddy to have football back. I'm not sure I was ready to be critical of anything at the point that it came on. Whether it was the broadcast or anything else, I was just ready to roll, and I was enjoying the games, and it was just cool to see it get started that way. I thought that, my goodness gracious, Colorado State, you got to turn around and play Colorado now. This is going to be a tough start for Bobo.
Florida's going to see a much different Colorado State team than Hawaii did. Much more motivated. They've been woken up.
Well, I would hope so, because defensively they were a nightmare. My God, I kept going, that dude is wide open. What are you doing? Let's get to probables. Fire it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
How much of it did you watch, by the way?
Honestly, I probably listened to more of it just to make sure that everything went
broadcast was going well, yeah.
Smoothly. I watched when Colorado State made it interesting in the second half.
Yeah.
When they got it to, I think it was one score in the fourth
they got
quarter.
it down to one score, yeah. Well, what's our next game we're carrying live right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio?
From a college football perspective, it's a doubleheader on Saturday, and the first game of the doubleheader is the game of the weekend. That would be Auburn and Washington.
Woo! Woo!
Coverage begins 2:30 p.m.
I can't wait for that game. There's a lot going on in that game. I think the reason that game is so intriguing beyond the Power 5 cross-conference situation, playoff hopes, all that, is that Jarrett Stidham's a good quarterback facing a really, really good secondary out of Washington. And that's really the matchup you want to see right off the bat. Browning comes back for Washington at quarterback, by the way. It's year 25 for him.
And then Sunday, as you're at the Libations Friday Fest, maybe driving away, but why would you? Why would you?
You could stick around and watch LSU in Miami.
If you're not, though, we do have LSU Miami on these airwaves. Coverage begins 6:30 on Sunday evening.
That's how we roll. White Sox, Yankees, Carlos Rodon, Masahiro Tanaka. There's your matchup there. The Blue Jays and the Orioles will feature Sam Gaviglio and David Hess. Nationals, Phillies, Steven Strasburg, Zach Eflin. Mets, Cubs, Noah Syndergaard. Come on, Noah. Shove. John Lester will start tonight for the Cubs. Not good for you?
Still pitching. No, just John Lester. It's amazing. What a career.
Picked up his second win since the All-Star break in his last outing, holding the Tigers to one run over 5 2/3 innings. He threw 7 shutout innings against the Mets last time he faced them.
Yep. That felt about right.
What a workout program they got going on in Chicago. A's, Astros, Brett Anderson and Garrett Cole. Cole needs just 4 strikeouts to take back the AL lead from teammate Justin Verlander. Of course he does. Rockies, Angels, John Gray, and Odrasmar Despaigne.
All right.
Woo! It's football season. D-backs, Giants, Patrick Corbin, Chris Stratton, and that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump.
The summer wind.
The summer wind. All right. Good work. Good work.
That probables was perfectly sized for Frank Sinatra.
I thought so. We have a lot of listeners in Jacksonville who, unfortunately, were on the wrong end of a growing public health crisis, and I'm thinking of you guys this week. And hang in there, hang tough. Our thoughts are with you, obviously. Get one of these stories daily. Good work, Tom. Good work, Matthew. Be well, everybody, and have a great, great night. Enjoy it, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.